Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Yannis Pappas.
Joe Rogan.
Yannis Pappas.
Yannis Pappas.
How are you, my brother?
I'm good. How you doing?
What the fuck's cracking?
I'm doing good, man. Just enjoying Austin.
Are you enjoying our town of freedom?
I'm enjoying the town of freedom.
This
Yes.
is the town of freedom.
Yes.
There's freedom here. This is the Wild West.
Yes, I'm enjoying it. I'm eating. I went to Suerte.
Oh, that's a good spot.
It was incredible.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
I think it's the best Mexican I ever had.
It's very good. There's
Yeah.
a lot of good Mexican out here.
Yeah, but
That's a good spot.
that was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, hit the Terry B's on Martin Luther King Day, so it was empty. It was nice.
Suerte, you have the added benefit of being around people with masks. That's like a East Austin.
I haven't seen any masks.
seen any?
No, I think. Well, I did in Vancouver. I was in Vancouver before this. Yeah,
They're weird.
They're
They
still
never
going.
stopped.
No, they're still going. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. There's a San Francisco like town hall meeting, and they passed a vote to stop for a ceasefire in Palestine.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're all masked up and they're dancing around and they got blue hair, and somebody made a caption that this is literally South Park. This is literally an episode of South Park.
Yeah.
And they look like fucking complete maniacs left in this worn, torn, shattered hull of a city.
Yeah.
Whatever's left is filled with human shit
Yeah.
and tents everywhere. And they're dancing around that they've stopped the ceasefire in Palestine. Yeah,
Yeah.
we voted for it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
They solved it in Oakland.
Like as if Benjamin Netanyahu's paying attention.
Right. Like that's gonna
He's gonna
work.
go, oh, I guess I'll stop now.
Yeah. He stopped traffic on the way to the airport in New York, and that'll do it.
Yeah, that does it. That generally does it.
That's what Netanyahu was waiting for. He's like, all right, now I've seen the error in my ways now.
Now I gotta pull back.
Now I got to pull back.
I did go a little too far. Let me back up.
Yeah, let me back it up
Dude,
right
they're
now.
stopping traffic. This
Yeah.
is serious.
I saw in Austin, I saw 3 people on the overpass just holding up a Free Palestine thing, and I'm going like,
I
all right,
bet those
that did
people
it.
have amazing, productive lives, and they're not crazy at all.
Yeah, not at all. No,
Yeah,
they
I
got
bet-
nothing. They got a full schedule of things to do, and they took a lot of time out of their schedule to stand on top of the highway.
They're super healthy. They're really into mindfulness. They're on the ball every day. They get everything done.
Every one of them has an alert for what they have to do next on their very busy schedule.
Free Palestine. I wasn't gonna.
Those people
But
just
I saw your banner.
yeah, till the banner came up. Yeah, those people are just perpetuating the situation over there. It's like the whole "is it right or wrong" thing. It's like it's obviously wrong. Humans have always been wrong when it comes to that. It's always been about power, who's got more power and who has less.
It's very multi-layered. That's the thing about any international conflict. You can look at the mainstream media narrative. You know, they did this, then they did that. But then it's like Ukraine and Russia. Like you say, oh my God, Russia invaded Ukraine. This is horrible. And that's most people's natural reaction to it. And then when you go, wait a minute, was there a rule? Did they make an agreement to not push arms closer to Russia? Did they consistently violate that agreement? Were they trying to move Ukraine into? I was reading about them trying to move Ukraine into NATO. Like what? What are you a Putin supporter? Are you a
Right.
Putin supporter? Like, no, wait a minute. Isn't this a very multifaceted, super complex international conflict that really is about a lot of things? It's not just about Russia and Ukraine. It's about NATO. It's about nuclear arms being pushed closer to a superpower. It's like
yeah,
there's more to it.
there's more to it.
There's more to all of it.
And usually that's why war breaks out, is because it's so multi-layered, and then it gets to that breaking point, and
It's just wild that they could still pull off war today. War, which is essentially like hijacking resources or controlling parcels of land. It's weird that they could still talk people into that today. Because it's kind of an old hustle. It's almost like old radio.
yeah,
Like it's, you know, it's such an old hustle that you can get people to believe these people hate you for your freedom or whatever it is, and then you go over there, oh, let's fucking shuttle up and go kick their ass.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing, given what we know about the true nature of conflicts and how so many things are manipulated behind the scenes to force people into actual physical conflict. And then there's generals that sit in air-conditioned offices and they move their pieces around the board like chess pieces. And
Yeah.
human lives.
Yeah. Yeah, and they don't fight. They're never in the front.
Never.
I don't even think Alexander the Great was in the front. I don't buy it.
Well, he didn't live long. You know,
He didn't live like
Alexander the Great. He died he's like 40.
Yeah, didn't they die young back then?
Oh, yeah.
And he died of like some sickness. He didn't die from like a battle wound.
I think probably all died of sickness.
Can you survive if you're in the front back then? It was like a human meat factory.
No, you're not going to survive.
He was in the
Most
back.
likely you're not going to survive. I feel like back then, like, sickness probably really kicked in when we started gathering together and throwing our shit out the window. Our actual shit, like human shit. Like if you think about the cities of ancient times before there was plumbing, do you know how horrific
History,
must have been?
history smelled, yeah.
We don't remember.
No.
We weren't there. We assume every place is like Target.
Yeah.
We assume every place is like a fucking rest stop on the highway. You can go in and take a shit. No.
Yeah.
No, people were shitting out windows. They were throwing their shit in buckets.
According to Wikipedia, he was a very productive 20-year-old, 20-something,
He was 20?
when he took over as king.
Whoa.
Yeah, he conquered the world. He was in his early 20s.
What a gangster. Look at this. By the age of 20, he succeeded his father, Philip II, to the throne in 336 BC at the age of 20 and spent most of his ruling years conducting a lengthy military campaign through Western Asia and Egypt. By the age of 30, he had created one of the largest empires in history. Holy shit. Stretching from Greece to northwestern India. He was undefeated in battle and widely considered to be one of history's greatest and most successful military commanders. And wasn't he also gay?
Well, then there's
He's bi.
Was he bi?
That was the
Well-
way back then. Yeah.
he was a
Is that what he was?
Yeah.
student of Aristotle, and we've read that questionable
Wow.
stuff about how those relationships
Tutored by, those relationships were uncomfortable. Those guys all fucked those kids.
They had eunuchs.
There was those, they had
Yeah.
eunuchs, and then they just had young boys.
Yeah.
What did it say about the Aristotle thing, though?
Sorry,
Can you go back to that quote,
I
where it
accidentally
was?
clicked something and
Oh,
it
it's
took me to
okay.
the bottom of the page.
What a huge page. That guy did a lot of shit. It says by the age of 16, until the age of 16, rather, Alexander was tutored. By 16, he was too old. Aristotle's like, get out of here, you old fuck.
Yeah.
Bring me a young boy. In 335 BC, shortly after his assumption of kingship over Macedon, he campaigned in the Balkans and reasserted control over the, how do you say that, Thrace?
Thrace. Yeah.
Thrace, and parts of Illyria?
Illyria.
Illyria. You should be saying this.
Yeah.
This is your native tongue. This is basically, I went to Greece this summer.
How'd you like it?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Your people did some wild shit, dude.
Yeah, we
Your
did.
people did some wild shit.
We did.
When you're in a
but
place
like Doug
where-
Stanhope said, I didn't do anything.
Right.
I was on the
Your
couch.
people. I'm
My
saying your people. Your
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
You know, if the Lakers win, you didn't throw a ball.
My tribe,
We
yeah.
won, you know?
Yeah, but the only thing we didn't do is create an empire because we were too busy infighting, which is typically Greek.
Well, you know, you can't do everything.
Can't do everything.
Did a lot more than a lot of other cultures 2,500 years ago.
Did a lot with mathematics, philosophy,
Democracy?
democracy.
Yeah.
We did a lot.
Yeah, a lot with drugs, too.
A lot with drugs, a lot with pedophilia.
Have you ever read that book, The Immortality Key?
No.
It's about the Eleusinian mysteries. It's this guy, Brian Murarescu. And Brian's been a guest on the podcast before, and he's a scholar who is like a straight-laced guy, doesn't do drugs, nothing. And he, through all of his course of study, they were trying to figure out like what they were doing in these Eleusinian mysteries. Like, why were people going from all over the world to have these experiences, and what were these experiences? So they recently discovered that inside these pottery vessels that they used to contain wine and beer in, they found ergot. And ergot is a very potent psychedelic. It's like a fungus. I think it's akin to LSD. And so they're at the very least, we're taking that in this one spot. And what they believe is that all of these like transcendent experiences they had, the Eleusinian mysteries, they get together and figure out how to solve the world and let people vote and all that wacky, that's all I'm tripping balls. This is my idea shit. And it's literally the birthplace of democracy. It's literally how the world changed for the better. And your people were doing it 2,500 years ago. and you can walk in the same spots where they walked. You can see the buildings that they built. It's weird. It's weird when shit is that old.
Yeah.
And you can just walk on it.
Yeah.
Like the Parthenon. You just walk around.
Yeah. And you can you can marvel at how durable what they built is.
Yes. 2,000 years is so long.
There'll be no in 2,000 years from now, you're not going to see any strip malls still standing. They're
They'll
built like shit.
literally be dust.
Yeah.
They'll be dust.
They built things really well back then. I think 100.
Great effort too.
Yeah.
To do that, like the kind of precision that's involved in the Parthenon, when you're walking around it and you see how all the stone is cut and how it lines up and how massive the columns are and how beautifully symmetric it is. It's so smooth and clean, and these people didn't have engines.
No, it's crazy.
There was no engine. This was all done by hand.
Yeah.
It was all dink, dink, dink.
Slavery.
Dink,
Yeah.
dink, dink. Oh, craftsmanship.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't just getting the crudest of people. You're getting artisans.
Yeah.
You probably worked against your will.
Yeah.
But,
To move those big rocks and stuff, yeah. It's
100%.
yeah.
Who the fuck knows how they did that? What the hell were they doing back then? They did some wild shit back then. When we think about like human ingenuity, oh God, we're missing so much of like, they didn't leave like, here's a book on how we did it. This is where we got the rocks. This is how we cut them. You know, this is the best way to move them. If you move them this way, they'll fall on you and you kill a few guys. You know, this is what we figured out over time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to think about. And I agree with you. I think it was drugs that opened people's minds up to like think about.
Yeah, it gave them a completely different perspective. Like Carl Sagan once said that about marijuana. I'm paraphrasing him, but essentially he was saying that it offers you a perspective that's not available without the drug.
Yeah. That's why I think mushrooms are getting popular for depression, right? It sort of takes you off those grooves that are created by the neuro connections.
Yeah.
And just gives you a new perspective.
I wonder how much, I mean, there's certainly different kinds of depression. There's depression that's clearly something wrong chemically with some people. But how much of it is just from not being healthy? How much of it not being healthy with your body and not being healthy with where your life is going? Like what kind of job you have, what you want to do with your life.
That's got to be some of it.
The friendships you have. What if all your friends suck?
Yeah, that's got to be a big part of it. And I think trauma. I think childhood trauma. I think childhood trauma kind of can make you depressed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think that
Especially abuse.
Yeah.
Abuse seems like the one that people have the hardest time shaking because it's not that they weren't even, it wasn't even that they were ignored, it's that someone preyed on them.
Yeah.
And they have no self-worth. They're beaten. You know, They have no self-worth.
And they know that the younger the abuse or the neglect happened, the more of an imprint it leaves because your brain is forming. And
it's fascinating stuff, man.
But we have neuroplasticity, and you can go to therapy, and EDMR is something I'm doing, and it's incredible. It's the only thing I've ever done that sort of works.
What is that?
EDMR was invented by Francine Shapiro like in the 80s accidentally. She's a psychologist, and now it's become sort of the gold standard for trauma treatment and PTSD and like vet hospitals and stuff. And what it is it's it's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And so
it involves moving your eyes in a very specific way while you process traumatic memories.
Yeah. I'm doing it now. It's crazy.
Oh my God, you're hacking your brain.
You hack your brain and you get into your subconscious, like your REM sleep state, and then you reprocess the memories. And when you're there, you start having vivid memories, and then when you're done, memories start flying in out of nowhere.
Whoa, how did you find out about this? This is wild.
It was interesting. I was in LA, right? So I have early childhood trauma, and then I've had some traumatic things happen to me later in life. And then the panic attacks started after I got shot when I was in my early 20s. I didn't know what they were back then. Like, I just didn't know what they were. So I'd just be having these panic attacks in the train, just going like, what is happening to me? So I've been dealing with it for like 20 years, and it would go away for periods. I'd have great periods, and then it would come back. And after I had kids, I think I called you. I did. I spoke to you once, and you were very helpful. But after I had kids, it sort of triggered a lot of these feelings that would come up out of nowhere, and sadness. I'd be looking at my kids and I'd get sad. I'd be playing with them. I'd get sad and I didn't understand it. And then I'd be in a hotel room and on the road, and I'd just start like panicking, and I'd be like, what is this? And so I was talking to my friend, Tracy Carnazzo. She's a comic in New York. She's funny, and she's one of these Italian girls who's just got a guy for everything. She's just, you ask her anything, she's like, I know somebody. So she was like, how are you? And I just answered honestly. I was like, I did, and I gave her like a paragraph. And she was like, it sounds like you didn't feel safe as a kid. She was like, let me get you in touch with this person who I'm friends with who does EDMR. And then I got in touch with this therapist, and she's incredible. And I started the EDMR journey, and it's the only thing I've done. And EDMR has a beginning, middle, and end. It's not like, it's not like ad infinitum. It just goes on forever. It's like you're there to reprocess this trauma.
And so do you do it at a specific place?
I do it Zoom. I love to Zoom.
You Zoom?
Yeah.
So you Zoom with someone who guides you through it? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
And you do it how often?
I'm doing it now twice a week, but you can do it once a week.
And how long is each session?
Hour. She'll go longer sometimes though.
Wild.
Yeah.
So do you feel like the chemicals moving around in your brain while you're doing this?
Yeah. You do. And that's a big part of it, is identifying the trauma in the body and how it affects the body. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score by, I think his name is Bessel. He's a psychiatrist, and he's responsible for all these trauma centers all over the country. And
so this guy is doing it to this lady right now.
Yeah.
He's going back and forth with his fingers, and she's following his fingers. And so she's supposed to be thinking about traumatic memories.
so then he'll take her back through the first phase is like identifying the trauma. So it's a lot of talk therapy. So you kind of, talk a lot. And then the therapist gets the idea of what you need to go back and reprocess. And new things will come up when you go back, and then you'll reprocess it. It's not just hands. You can do, you can follow a ball. You can hold the buzzers in each hand. It's about stimulating both sides of your brain.
Yeah.
What's happening in mental health now is so fascinating, because when you parallel it with like what happened in medicine, right? Like we used to treat the symptom, right? So if someone had a fever, they treated the fever, but they didn't know what the cause was. So they'd put you in cold water or boiling water, whatever they did. And then they found out about viruses and bacteria, so they started treating the cause. Now in mental health, you're starting to see that revolution because of the advances in neuroscience, where they can look at the brain and they can actually see, what parts are responsible for what, where trauma shows up in the brain. They just did a recent study. It was a big study about how traumatic memories don't come back as memories. They come back, they light up in the part of your brain as if it's happening now, which makes sense. We knew that because, when Vietnam vets start bugging out and they're in the supermarket or whatever, but they can actually see it now in the brain, that the brain is processing it as it's happening now. So, converging neuroscience and psychology and all the things that they've known from all these different advances, and it seems to be in a place now where trauma is becoming one of the things that they focus on the most, like early childhood trauma or traumatic events. In war, obviously, we know that's that's the specific cause of what is bothering those people, is what they've experienced. And so now they're targeting the trauma, but they have ways to treat the trauma with EDMR, with brain spotting, it's called, a whole bunch of these tactics.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating when you think of, like I had this guy on the podcast yesterday, Joe Pyfer. He's a MMA fighter for the UFC. And he had a terrible childhood, terrible, fucking horrible beatings, just constant. It's just like heartbreaking to hear the story. But it's just fascinating, like as a human being, like whoever you are when you're listening to this right now, you are the accumulation of your processing of every experience you've ever had. As much as we like to claim autonomy and we think on our own, and we kind of do, and there's there's definitely chemical problems. There's definitely people that just have a genetic defect, something, just like some people have diseases of all sorts of other parts of their body. They get diseases in the brain. That's fucking for real, 100%. But you're basically just an end product of experiences and your interpretation of those experiences. And the lessons and the way you've contextualized all those experiences, and they're all in your head, and that's your map of the world. That's your map of the world. So if you're in San Francisco, yay, we freed Palestine. Like, their map of the world is fucked. Like, their experiences, like what's got them to 2024, January 18th, whatever it is this result sucks. Like, this result sucks. Like, this is terrible. Like, you guys are out of your fucking mind. You're wasting your time. There's needles on your street. You guys are out of your fucking mind. What are you doing? This result sucks. But those people they could have been in fucking Wyoming, as, like, hardworking ranchers, the same human. Could have been like a salt of the earth, fucking Kevin Costner, Yellowstone looking motherfucker. It could have been the same. It's just your experiences.
Yeah.
It's just what shapes you? What directions do you go in? When do you get pushed down? When do you get lifted up? Who gives you a hug? Who pushes you away?
Yeah.
And how does this play out?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know themselves because you got to do all this work to know yourself because your brain protects you in so many ways that you're unaware of. Like,
your brain will fuck
they
you
know
up.
in neuroscience, like, your brain usually, when it's healthy, works in concert and sends information to different parts of your brain to process it. But when you have trauma or a chemical problem or whatever it is, it doesn't work well. And in traumatic experiences, your neocortex shuts off and your limbic turns on, and there's a survival reason for that, right? So if you're in a moment of fight or flight, you don't want to start reasoning. You don't want to go like, you start philosophizing. You're just emotional. You're dealing with your survival reptile brain, and so it actually shuts off. So people who have like panic and anxiety, it's hard to reason your way out of it because that part of your brain is shut down.
Now imagine you have panic and anxiety already, and you're already experiencing depression, and then they prescribe to you medication, and one of the side effects of that medication is suicide. Suicidal ideation.
Ideations, yeah.
Yeah. Imagine being that person and forced with that choice. Like, this may help you, or you might just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, medication, it just.
That's a wild one, man.
Yeah. Medication
it can help you.
It can help you.
But you could also.
It can hurt you.
You could go sliding down a hill and there's no trees to grab.
But every study they do, still till now, medication is not the end-all cure. Like, it just doesn't. It can numb it. It can help you. It's definitely good if you're in like a jam, like if you're really in a bad spot. It can. But when you do the medication, that's when you got to start doing the work. You can't just do the medication as an end to fix it.
But the medication is interfering with the natural system. You know what I think? I think it's going to be in the future. Medication is going to be like, for mental illness, it's going to be like leeches. Like, oh, they used to use leeches. They didn't know any better. Oh, they used to just put medicine into people. They used to give them chemicals. Oh, they didn't fix the brain? No, they just did chemicals.
Right.
Why didn't they do the rewiring? Oh, they hadn't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
But the fucked up thing is that trauma that you experience as a child, or those the trauma is a very overused word because some people have experienced real trauma. So let me say this: the negative experiences that you've had, both as an adult and as a child, those also made you who you are. If you're happy with the result, like if you're happy with how you're living, you're happy with what you're doing. Those things were important to go through, unfortunately.
Well, there's nothing you could do about them. It happened. You got to make the best out of them, and a lot of people do make the best out of them and turn them into something.
A lot of people do. It is possible.
And trauma is not necessarily the thing that happened to you. It's how you react to the thing that happened to you, I think. And everyone's different. Everyone has a different level of sensitivity and circumstance and genetic code. And so I can't really judge anyone's trauma. You
could never know how another person feels.
Yeah.
You just can't know. You just can't know. Unless you're on TikTok. Then you can know.
But yeah, I mean, if the human race has a chance, I think people need to start looking inward. Why am I really doing what I'm doing? Who am I really? What is this really about?
Also, this is so temporary. We're treating it like it's permanent.
It's temporary.
You're treating your own life like it's permanent, and it's so temporary.
I've noticed a lot of successful friends I have, and a lot of successful people are so scared to just be happy because I think there's like this deep fear of losing it.
Yeah. That's real.
It's like if I stay miserable, I don't got to focus on the fear of losing it.
Yeah, that's real.
Because we all lose it at the end.
It's that, and it's also you have a real fear of not being able to keep doing what you do. Like whatever it is that you've done that's successful, you just lose the magic. You lose the thing. What is it? Now I suck. Like whatever it is. Now I'm not interested. Now I'm not interesting. Now I can't talk. Now I can't do this anymore. I can't do that anymore. Nobody likes my music. My movies suck. Like, yeah, that fear, it's crippling. It's crippling fear. Well, it's such a crazy fear.
Yeah, it's funny the way things are set up here.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's like, hey, enjoy yourself, accumulate all this stuff, but you have to have this. You have this knowledge because we have these big brains that you lose it all. It's all going away.
It's all gone. Sinatra said that about everything he has. Like they were giving him a hard time for giving away so much money and giving people things.
Yeah,
and he's like, this is not mine. I'm renting this.
Yeah, and it's
gonna be gone.
Comedy makes everything okay.
Yeah,
that's why I think
makes it more fun.
It makes everything okay. It just it conquers everything.
Yeah.
It means when you have a good sense of humor and when you're laughing in the right way, not just cackling by yourself in a room, but it just means you're mentally healthy. It's a sign of mental health and strength when you can laugh at horrible things. That's the way you conquer them.
Yeah, it's also a sign that you're recognizing nuance and you're playing with it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't mean that you really think that this tragedy is great.
Right.
You just find something horrible to say that's hilarious about the tragedy. And sometimes you can only do that with your friends. You only do that at a deli.
Yeah.
you can only do that having dinner at 1 o'clock in the morning, just talking shit.
Yeah.
Making each other laugh.
Yeah.
But that's also a thing that I think we have that we're really lucky about. That's our big gift. Our big gift is each other. Like as comedians, I spend time with a lot of different people and a lot of different occupations, and I always can't wait to get back to comedians. I always can't wait to get back to the green room at the mothership. Can't wait to do sets on the road. It's just the conversations are so much more fun. They're so fun.
You can say anything and
it's just fun. Yeah. Everyone's just being funny and smiling and realizing, wow, we're so lucky. We used to be open mic night comedians, and now here we are about to go do a sold-out show. We're having dinner together at a restaurant and laughing, and then you go have fun. Yay! And then the people have fun. Yay!
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's the ultimate connection.
And the amount of love that you get back and forth, like the amount of love a comic gets, the amount of love they give, the positive energy both for and back, that's like very few people get to experience that in life.
Yeah.
And
it's the only place that comedians can get it. It's from other comedians.
Yes.
Because we're jaded and you can't. It's harder.
Also, we can speak so freely.
Yeah.
You can go. There's this fucking bit. It's just dead. It's got a thing and it goes somewhere and then it drops off and I don't know what the fuck to do with it. I've been trying to monkey around with different ways to say it and switch. And they're like, and then everybody will sit around and analyze it. And we'll analyze each other's bits. And you don't have to say that part. Everybody already knows that. If you cut that out, it's shorter. You're right. Why did I say that part? And then, everybody just starts tinkering with stuff. And you can just openly tinker with phrases and ideas and setups.
Yeah. It's
so much fun.
It's like architects sitting with their contractors figuring it out.
Yeah. If you got a good relationship with the contractor.
Yeah.
I would imagine the architects and the contractors squabble a lot.
They do. I'm going through that right now.
Are
We're
you?
putting an addition on our house, and they squabble. And I'm like, who do I trust, the architect or the contractor?
Oh, no. It's a power struggle for Yannis Pappas love.
You get in the middle. And it's funny because I don't know anything. So you're at the mercy. You're just so vulnerable.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about what they're talking about. And I'm like, just trying to look in their eyes and figure out which one's more honest, and I have no clue. It's just a guess.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That was someone who was telling me that about the World Trade Center. They were saying, the World Trade Center was designed to be hit by a jet plane. And I don't know if they're right, but what they were saying is, do you know how much corruption there is in construction?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, how much? They go, say if it's supposed to get 5 bolts. If you only use 4, do you know how much money you save over a whole building? If you make the steel that thick instead of that thick, do you know how much money you save? If it calls for 1/2 inch this, but you use 1/4 inch that, you know how much money you save?
You got to pay off the inspectors and all that, I guess.
I guess. Are they really inspecting everything?
Yeah.
How does that work?
You just you cross your fingers.
I don't know if that's the case. But my point was always like, how the fuck do you know what's going to happen to a building until a plane slams into it and you get to watch?
Right.
Because there's never been a skyscraper that got hit by a plane before.
Which
you
makes it
can't say,
interesting.
this is not how it should have happened.
Yeah.
Like, we have zero idea
Well,
what it looks like other than 9/11 when
a plane-
jets slam into skyscrapers.
A plane hit the Empire State Building. Big one.
When was that?
The 40s?
Was it a propeller plane?
No, it was a big plane.
Like a jet?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How bad did it fuck it up?
It slammed right into it.
Didn't do shit to it?
B-25 in 1945.
Can you? Wow, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen to which pictures, I guess, would be.
Whoa. With
And the buildings
pictures?
fell not because of the plane hit
Oh,
it. Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a big ass old school plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a propeller plane. Wow. Where did it hit?
Bang, right there.
Wow.
79th floor.
And it didn't take it out.
No. They're built not to.
Is that commensurate though? Like, how did it hit? Did it hit just the wing? Was the guy trying to pull out?
No, he.
But look at that.
Definitely
Like,
no jet fuel in there.
what's that? Yeah, no
definitely
jet
jet
fuel.
Yeah.
No jet fuel.
Because the heat from the jet fuel is what took down the Trade Center, not the plane impact.
So they say.
So they say. But I
So
mean,
they say.
Yeah.
But you know who they are, right?
I mean, well, they did.
I don't know who they are. I was hoping I could just sneak that in.
I
Someone
wanted
will
to get
tell
into
me.
that real soon with some like.
Alex will tell
Who
you.
is that? Depending on what you're talking
Let's
about.
go to
who
dinner
is
with
that?
Alex. Let's go to dinner with Alex. He's been freaking me out lately.
The 9/11 it's interesting to me. People ruin it by coming up with what they think happened instead of just stopping at, hey, it's fishy. It's a little weird. Just stopping there because you can't know what the actual conspiracy was, but there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense on 9/11.
Well, whenever you run into a situation where there's a gigantic worldwide disastrous event, like that's an event that the whole world knew about, but you lie about some aspects of it. Like, one of the things was, what did the United States get caught lying about Saudi Arabia, about their involvement early on with funding?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
ignored it. I mean, the Bin Laden family was flown out before.
Yeah.
Weird stuff. Yeah.
Weird stuff.
Weird stuff.
Weird stuff. It's like, what if I wanted to do that? Would you be mad? what if I had some fucking dudes from Afghanistan staying in my house, and right after some shit went down, I illegally flew them out of the country? They're cool. Listen, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. That sounds like what a criminal would do.
That's right. That's right.
It just sounds like what a criminal would do.
Yeah.
Like, if I was running cocaine with the Colombians, and right before the FBI came, I fucking shot some planes illegally filled with coke back to Colombia. I'm like, listen, none of the time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's good. But you're not allowed to fly right now. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's
it's criminal.
just criminal enterprise.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. We're just gonna fly. We're not gonna tell you.
Yeah.
We're gonna take the family of the dude who set this up, and we're gonna just fly.
We're gonna get them all out.
Hey, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. Hey, shouldn't we keep them here and investigate?
Yeah.
It seems like there was some sort of a connection with Saudi Arabia. Shut the fuck up. What about Iraq? They have weapons of war. They're going to kill us all. We're going to all be dead unless we get in there right now. Let's
yeah.
go.
Yeah. It's sort of like with the Epstein thing. It's like, I just call her Gasoline because I hate pronouncing her first name. Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
Yeah, why not? How come they're not interrogating her? How come they're not? She's just sitting there and they're like leaking these slow leaks about.
Well, it's even crazier
It's like,
than that.
talk to her. They have her. Huh, is nobody asking her any questions? Like, she knows everything. Torture her.
We can't
Torture
ask
her
her
until she says everything.
any questions. It's not proper.
And how is she just sitting in her mansion, like while this was all going down? She's just sitting there. They can't find her. She hasn't been arrested.
She was in a cabin in New Hampshire.
Yeah, she's just, you can find Bin Laden, but you can't find Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, they found her.
Yeah, they
She
found her
wasn't
after a while.
Well, she's solo. You know, Bin Laden had a whole network of people protecting him.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the craziest theory is that they didn't shoot Bin Laden. They shot Bin Laden's double. That's why they got rid of it. Like, there's so many wacko fucking flat earth conspiracy theories out there about everything.
Yeah, but some of them are not. Yeah, some of them are just because people have access to information now and they go, wait a second.
You know what I
think
also think, cynically?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of really dumb ones, and there's a lot of ones that are like a little smarter than dumb, and then there's a lot of ones that are really smart, and there's a lot of ones that are like, oh my God, if this is true, this changes everything, and they all lump them in together. And
Yeah.
it's genius. It's genius. Because if you only look at the ones that like the Federal Reserve isn't federal. Wait a minute. Where is it?
Right. It's
What the
private,
fuck's
yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
You know, like when you just look at one or two of those, it's so confounding that that's actually taking place right now. That you need like a little flat earth thrown in there, a little fucking Pizzagate, a little Hillary Clinton's laptop, they're eating babies, a little, you know? So you can sneak in Epstein's Island. Like, that was a real place, man.
Yeah.
That was a real place.
Yeah.
And the way a place like that can kind of fly in under the radar is if there's a bunch of fake stuff.
So
Don't
you
go
think-
to Antarctica. There's an alien base. You know, there's like the more nutty shit they can get you to think about, the more real things you should be really concerned about sneak through.
Yeah. Do you think that's intentional? Or you think
100%.
people just
100%.
spiral with other stuff?
Both.
Yeah.
Both
I think
things.
it's both probably.
It's
yeah.
both. Yeah, but they're playing on the fact. Even if the government wasn't encouraging people to go insane, they would still go insane. They would still have conspiracy theories. But without a doubt, foreign governments are on TikTok and on Instagram and on Facebook, and they are influencing people to go in a very specific direction. And how much of a percentage is it? If their algorithm encourages like trans positive content, how much does that move the public narrative? It's not zero. It's not zero.
No.
So if you got two ships and they're both going in the same direction, parallel lines, and I could turn this one ship just like that, just a little bit. I just need like a couple of degrees of turn. Over time, that motherfucker's going to be way off course.
Yeah.
Way off course.
Yeah.
I think that's happening.
Oh,
for
that's
fucking sure.
that's the way war is waged now.
And
yeah.
it's also happening with people that think they're doing the right thing. Like we were talking about Google the other day, and like how YouTube censors things. Like what they think they're doing it. They
Right.
think they're doing the right thing.
Right.
I was reading. Is this true that Gas Digital's all their stuff got taken off the air?
I think they got taken down again on YouTube. I think. Yeah. I don't know if you mean like their website and everything.
No, their YouTube page.
Yeah, they got taken down again. Yeah.
There's one video where this comic that works with Lewis was saying that all they were doing in this podcast is talking about how big a guy's dick was. This guy had a giant hog. They were talking about this guy, and they got their shit removed for that.
It's up now.
It's back.
It's a different page.
So it's
Says,
back.
like, the specials and stuff.
Yeah.
So what were they saying? Oh, is it? Maybe I'm looking at something. Maybe it was a clip of something that happened in the past.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics of it at all.
It was one of those. It was either an Instagram reel or one of them YouTube shorts. You know, one of those things like that.
Yeah.
He was talking about how they took it down because he was talking about how big a dude's hog was.
Yeah, that doesn't seem.
Oh, it's bullying.
Yeah.
Even his big
When
dick.
you're looking at you're talking about Jeffrey Epstein's island. A lot of people don't talk about his ranch in New Mexico.
Yeah, and his mansion. I mean, it was popping off at all his spots.
He built a 26,700 square foot mansion with a sprawling courtyard and a living room, roughly the size of the American home. Nearby was a private airstrip with a hangar and helipad. The property also included a ranch office, a firehouse, and a 7-bay heated garage. Yeah, that sounds like an intelligence agent. Right out of a fucking movie.
Yeah, and we're never
luring
gonna-
all the politicians into the honeypot.
Yeah.
And how many people died because of that?
We're never gonna know. They're never gonna let us. We'll never know.
What a fucking genius con.
Yeah.
What a genius con. You get some guy, you say he's a billionaire, you just give him like a fucking blank checkbook, which when you're spending $170 billion on Ukraine and $136 billion here and $46 billion there, and we got to upgrade that and just let these people in, and that costs $30 trillion. Like fucking, what's a billion?
That's right. Yeah.
What's a billion to control literally the greatest scientists and entertainers and politicians, and just get them all convinced?
Yeah.
Look, Bill's here. Look who's here. Stephen Hawking's here. Look, this guy's here. Look at the Nobel laureates here. Look at all these brilliant, esteemed scientists. Look at these amazing conversations. Look how beautiful these women are. It's like everybody says that, you know, if you went there, you'd be a real piece of shit. If you're going to a place where, I mean, what is the actual list? Who's on the actual list? You know, there's some pretty fascinating people. if you got invited to that party, you didn't know what the fuck is going on. Magician David Copperfield reappears. Jeffrey Epstein court, poof,
He did
reappears.
magic.
With lawyers suggesting he traded tickets for girls. Tickets for his shows? Is his show that hot? Jesus Christ. How cheap are these girls? Because like how much does his tickets to his show cost?
I don't know. I don't know the magic. I don't
Boy.
know the magic hierarchy.
Talk about overvaluing what you're worth.
Yeah.
If you give me a sex slave, I'll give you tickets to my show.
I get tickets to my magic show. Not even a Chris Angel show either.
But what a brilliant move if you can. I mean, question number one. Were they all underage? Were some of them of age? Like, do we know how that worked? Because even if they weren't underage is the best. If you want to get some blackmail, that's the best. But you can still bust quite a few guys with of age.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're giving them a little yayo.
Yeah.
We're on an island. You ain't gonna do
There's no
yayo.
rules. Yeah. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
We're the elite. We're the fucking Illuminati, Bill. I am.
Yeah. Just cheating on your wife is
Yeah.
enough.
Enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
And just we're publicly having it so that they can like trot it out there. Anytime there's an election, anytime there's a this or there's a vote they want you to vote in one way or another way, they always have that. Always have that.
Just a little
And
reminder
so
out
you
there.
just keep that fucking thing in the back of your head, like I gotta shut the fuck up and toe the line. I
probably-
gotta shut the fuck up and toe the line.
There's no better way to control someone.
No better way,
No.
and it's so brilliant and ancient. It's like an ancient strategy, and it was. First of all, is there another one going on right now that we don't know about?
Of course.
Like that at that level?
Of course.
It seems like that guy
So
was like,
effective. Why would you stop? Yeah.
I think you need a combination of things to do it at that guy's level. By all accounts, he was a brilliant guy, which is wild, right? And you have to be also a sick fuck, which he obviously was, and also an intelligence agent. So do you just become that sick fuck over the course of, like, you hear about DEA agents, they start dealing drugs. Once they get in there, they're like undercover, and then they fucking live the life, and they start actually dealing drugs. It happens.
Yeah.
Do you think like maybe the guy just became a fucking sociopath, psychopath?
So fascinating.
From
to
just
think about.
dealing with the life that he was, that's his job. His job is to trick politicians into fucking underage girls and get them coked up and bring them into this place that's it's cameras everywhere. These fucking idiots don't know that there's going to be cameras everywhere. And you set this up. And this is what you do for a living for 30 years or however long he did it?
It's fascinating to think about. I think two things. I think everyone wants to be someone, right? Everyone wants to be someone, have an exciting life. And then I think people have a myriad of, they have a, just your moral compass from your family or whatever's on a scale. So that's a factor. And then, but the more important factor is everyone has those moments in their life where things are offered to them, and you go this way, you're going to get some exciting stuff, but you're going to have to compromise your moral compass, and people make that decision. Fame and power, it's like the ultimate elixir.
It's also the people that you're around. Because like we were talking about, like we love being around comics. It's fun. It's our lifestyle. It's how we like to talk. They like being around other sociopaths. They like being around other people that are taking over businesses, hostile takeovers. They like to be around the guys who influence foreign governments, the guys who fly over in private jets and sit with their legs crossed with Italian shoes on. And they have conversations about clean energy, and what they really want to do is control all the fucking food, control the farmlands. We have to reduce the methane from these cows, and the best way to do it is just take the cows away from the farmers. If we just control the cows, if we have a climate change mandate and we control the farms, I mean, it's basically game over. They're literally doing that.
All bad guys have a British accent.
There's no reason why you would say we shouldn't have cows. Unless you're a fucking complete sociopath. You're not going after the coal plants first. No, you want people to get rid of cows? Are you sure this is a good strategy? Do you understand starvation? Do you understand how that works? You're not going to grow cows, are you? No, you need someone to grow cows. And you're going to take their cows away? the fuck out of here.
Yeah, why would they want to get rid of cows?
Because they want you to be completely dependent on them. The more you're dependent on them, and the more they can tell you what's good and what's bad and what you shouldn't be doing. And Yannis, we looked at your carbon footprint. Your carbon footprint is very problematic. It seems like in your job of stand-up comedy, you travel more than the average person, and you contribute more CO2 And they show you like a video of all, and we're going to have to get you to stop. It's like for the greater good. For the greater good.
It has some benefits. Social credit scores have a benefit. Things are cleaner. They run a little more orderly.
Sure. You have to listen or you can't eat.
It's horrible. It's a nightmare. But, there is some... Things do run better.
Well,
When
it
you
runs
force
better
people
for the
to do
government.
stuff, yeah.
You have less dissent because you kill people.
Yeah.
I mean, China's doing a great job of showing how you can run it.
You can run it. Yeah, they're just doing it. It's
Yeah.
a nice, tight ship over
That's
there.
how you make
Nobody's
an iPhone.
jaywalking. Yeah.
That's how you make an iPhone.
That's how you make an iPhone over there.
Yeah.
You get people to follow rules.
Yeah.
And they,
If that comes over here, that's the end of creativity. That's the end of everything. Because you're just going to have to shut the fuck up. And you're going to have to toe the line. And we all already know that the line is nonsense.
Yeah.
We know that the line is not really intelligent people that are assessing objectively what's going on in the world and giving you a reasonable version of the events. We know that's not really what we're seeing in the media.
Right.
We're seeing people that are deeply influenced by advertising budgets, by what kind of companies advertise on their shows, by the investors who own stock in the company. There's narratives, and they're not necessarily even remotely honest.
Right.
Like sometimes they're off the charts fake.
Right. Right.
They get printed in like major newspapers. Like some of the propaganda in the beginning of the Israeli Hamas war was that these Israelis bombed a hospital and 500 people were killed. It was printed in the New York Times.
I remember that. Yeah.
They didn't hit the hospital.
No.
They hit the parking lot next to the hospital. And
I think a lot of that is the rush, too, to get to the story first, like because there's so much competition. Everyone's just putting things out, and nobody cares about the retraction anyway. And so,
Well, that's a juicy story.
Yeah.
If Israel really did bomb a hospital,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is genocide.
Yeah.
It really helps that narrative.
Yeah. Like I was watching this documentary last night, and the media did that to this couple. They did because the movie Gone Girl was out at the time, so they just started calling her Gone Girl, and she made up this whole story of being kidnapped. She did get kidnapped. She did get raped, but the media was just making fun of her, calling her Gone Girl because it's a juicier story. They just ran with it. The police department too was all convinced that she was a Gone Girl. People just marketing and advertising and subterfuge, it works. It just works. That's why advertisers spend billions of dollars on it.
You ever
Because it
seen
works.
Nancy Pelosi talking about it openly? Talk about the wrap-up smear.
No.
Nancy's been in politics for a long time. She's
been a long-
and she's a genius with her money.
She's very good. She beats the market a lot.
It's amazing that someone who's never made more than $170,000 a year is worth $150 million.
Yeah.
And she does better investing in the stock market than Warren Buffett or George Soros.
Yeah, she's always beating the market.
So I don't know what happened. Maybe she had a senior moment, and she just started explaining how you lie. And this can't be AI, is it? I think it's real because it's from a couple of years ago. It's called the wrap-up smear.
Yeah, there's a AP assessment that says it's been taken out of context. I was trying to get to what the context was.
What context could it be? She's describing a wrap-up smear.
Says assessment says she was describing a tactic she used, or she accused Republicans of against Democrats. And other portions of her response not shown in the clip, Pelosi makes it clear she is not talking about her own party.
Oh, I don't necessarily think she's talking about anyone in particular. What I'm saying is that what she revealed is that it's a play. Like if you're a football player and they call a play, that play. Like our callback and stand-up comedy. This is what she's doing. She's talking business. I'm not saying she's even accusing anybody of this.
The claim was that it was. The claim was saying that it's how the Democrats get the media to legitimize lies.
Okay. But what was fascinating to me about it was just this open admittance that it's all bullshit. Just saying, like, not decrying this thing and saying it's a genuine problem with communication, that we have deception and it's tolerated and that it's not punished, and that like willful deception like this. And there's a thing called a wrap-up smear, and this is a horrible thing that they do. It wasn't that. It was like, this is how it's done.
Right.
Watch it. Here, go play it from the beginning.
Video, I think. Stop.
Clip. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported.
What's going on?
The news person's
Theo
about to
is
start
proof
talking. That's
that
why I was trying to cut it off. Unless you want to hear
The
her.
assault allegations against Brett Kavanaugh.
This is where I was trying to not get too confused on what.
Okay, so they were connecting it to the assault allegations against Brett Kavanaugh. They tried to keep him out of the Supreme Court, right? Is that what the Fox News story was trying to do?
5 years ago when this was posted.
Yeah. But what I was getting at was just that she's describing a tactic. This is what we do. We fake, and then Johnny comes into the right. I pass off the football to him. He sneaks around behind me. We run through the fucking line. Let's go.
Yeah.
She's talking business.
Yeah.
I mean, even if she's not saying that the Democrats do it, this is how we do it. She's talking business.
Yes. And that's how it works.
And she's not horrified. Imagine if you were in that same position and you had been given information. For whatever reason, the current administration thinks Yannis Pappas, let's have a very smart, funny guy, and he's going to be the guy that kind of explains what's going on. And you have to explain what a wrap-up smear is. Would you not feel like morally obligated to say something about how atrocious activity like this is when it comes to critical decisions that people are making? People that are probably not that informed, people that are going through their day, busy, they have jobs, they have bills, they have stress, they have all kinds of stuff going on. They don't have enough time to pay attention to what's going on with that Supreme Court guy. So if you're like openly discussing strategies where you would deceive people in order to get a narrative passed that's clearly untrue because you don't want that guy in office politically. And that's not horrific to people. That is anti-American. It really is. And you can think you're doing it because you're a good American, but that's how communism gets started. That's how dictators take over. They come up with justification for why they can bend the rules. The rules are the fucking rules.
Yeah, once you compromise the rules, that's
You gotta let people vote.
Yeah.
You gotta let people. There should be, and I think there's got to be a good news. What is that? 1440 News? Is that what it's called?
I don't even know what that is.
There's some news site that is. There's a company. I think that's the name of it. I signed up for it. I don't even remember what it is. They're trying to just give you facts with no narrative. Like, here's the events of the day.
ground news. I love ground news.
I don't know what the sources are, like if they're on the ground. But what they're doing is they're trying to do it without a left wing or a right wing spin.
Well, ground news tells you it
That's
rates.
it. 1440.
I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, that's it. Do you have to sign up for it?
I don't even know. I can't tell if this is just a Substack.
100
or-
plus sources, so you don't have to. Culture, science, sports, politics, business, and more, all in a 5-minute read. It's people are. If you're a Fox News fucking zombie, you're a Fox News zombie. You're not checking what MSNBC has to say. You know, what's that Rachel Maddow lady? What's her take on this? Is there room in the middle here?
No,
Like,
you don't.
What's
You don't want to live in that. You live in that. You live in the Fox reality.
You don't have
Yeah.
any time.
Yeah.
No one has any fucking time, Giannis.
Yeah.
They don't have time to be sorting this out. So if you're fucking lying and you're doing it because you think it's a good strategy to get your politician in place, that's dirty. That's anti-American.
Yeah, it is. But I'm sure it's the way it's worked,
Bro,
from the beginning.
Think about what they took Nixon out for. Just spying. Just a little spying. Just a little spying. Not that big a deal.
Yeah.
And they don't want to do anything about the Epstein client list, and they don't want to do anything about whatever the fuck Hunter Biden was doing with Russia and Ukraine, and China.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were you doing, bro?
They're selective about what
were
they're
you
gonna
doing
take.
over there?
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, why does everybody have millions of dollars?
Yeah.
Where'd all that come from?
Yeah. Why are you on the board of a major energy company and you're a crackhead? Is it to curry favor with the vice president?
Why did Joe Biden get $1 million a year job teaching at UPenn?
Yeah.
That was funded by a Chinese grant.
Yeah. He also,
or I shouldn't say it's funded by a Chinese grant. It happened right after China gave him a bunch of money. Yeah. This fucking dude doesn't even have to show there. He's telling everybody he's teaching there.
Yeah. And he also plagiarized, got caught, and there's no consequences.
Dude, we had Joe Biden night at Stitch's Comedy Club in Boston. In 1988, when he was running for president, he got busted. I think it was Robert Kennedy's speech and someone else's speech. He used like big chunks of people's stuff, and he got busted pre-internet.
Yeah.
And it was so egregious and so bad that we did Joe Biden night at the Stitch's Comedy Club, where like you would go up and do my act, and I would go up and do your act. We would just go up and do acts of our friends. If you just, Fitzsimmons and I used to go and watch it. It was hilarious.
Yeah. There's no consequences.
There's no consequences.
No consequences.
It's not just no consequences, but there's so many videos of him. People keep wanting to talk about Trump lying and, Trump being a bully. And it's like, I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he's not a crazy individual, a bombastic individual, but why are you ignoring the other guy's lies?
Right.
Because if you care about truth, we should be going, shit, look at this mess. That's what we should be doing.
It's the same reason why those people won't say that Trump did anything good. He did do some good things when he was in office. He was right about some things, and he did do some things that were effective. But they'll never admit it because it's all team ball.
The guy who was the head of Google, how do you say his name? Chamath? I don't want to fuck his name up. Brilliant guy. But his take on it was Trump was the wrong guy with the right strategies, wrong guy with the right message, wrong guy socially, politically, lightning rod for the wrong kind of people, the right guy in terms of it seems like those policies were more effective. There's just so many things that are fucking weird right now.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point, yeah.
Well, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant guy, and you have to be brilliant to be someone who was at Google, which is an incredibly left-wing organization, like heavy, like most super genius tech people are very like left-wing. And then to look at that in a nuanced way and to be able to step outside of the ideology and say that, because that's the truth.
Yeah.
That is the truth.
Yeah.
He was early exec at Facebook, not Google.
I'm sorry, Facebook. And that, again, same kind of thing.
Yeah, same. I mean,
Yeah, super genius tech guy. But the way he describes, see if you can find him saying it. Because the way he describes it, you're like, thank God he's saying that and not a moron.
Yeah.
Because what he's describing is the actual points, and he's making very good points about it.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I mean, we're less dependent on foreign oil. I mean, he was right about the border. Look at the border now.
The border now seems to be on purpose. It seems to be on purpose. It seems to be like there's some sort of a strategy to either flood the country. Tim Dillon thinks it's cheap labor for construction. He's like,
That's got to be true.
It's got to be a factor. It's got to be a factor. Cheap labor is probably a factor. And then another factor is this push to have them be able to vote. It's a weird one. Like they're doing that in New York City. They're pushing to give illegals the right to vote. But then the wildest thing that Texas is doing is just shipping all the people that show up because these states want sanctuary cities. Like, yeah, because you're not on the border. Okay, we'll just ship them to you.
Yeah.
So Texas is just shipping busloads of illegal immigrants to New York. Like, this is your mess.
It's the perfect example of the difference between theory and reality.
Yes.
It's like everyone up there is in theory, love everybody, everyone's great. There's no such thing as an illegal. And then when it becomes your problem, and that's why Texas is doing it, they're going, okay, now you're going to deal with what we're dealing with. So you're going to feel what it's like. And now you guys got to pay for it. And you have to figure out what to do. And
change your policies.
yeah,
Stupid.
so it has. There's a lot of people in the left and the center that are going just like make it go away. They're just going, I don't know, just throw them in the water, just make it go away, but don't tell anyone I told you.
is this it?
Yeah, that's it.
Check. We're talking about Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's in 2 minutes. Let me restart. Pause audio up. Bam.
Hillary Clinton. I voted for Joe Biden, but this is the honest assessment. The guy did, for the things that he was supposed to do, a good job. And for where every other president found a way to frankly, make our situation a little bit worse, specifically around wars, he did not do that. And that is a huge accomplishment that I think needs to be acknowledged. As a Democrat who has been left homeless, who is now definitely in the center, but probably leaning increasingly right, I'm left yet again with an appreciation, despite the messenger, of the message of the Trump administration, because what those guys did was pretty incredible in hindsight. These Abraham Accords, the accords with Israel and the GCC, the almost accord between Israel and Saudi, to really be able to like find a long-lasting peace is just a real example for the world. And you know, those guys did a lot of really good work. And
it's a miracle, actually, when you look at it. What they did, you know, despite the fact, listen, I'm no fan of Trump, and I am too homeless.
But this is where,
but
can I say this?
But if you want to objectively look at what they did, it was good work. It was great work.
You have to. And in fact, this is a moment where you have to start to re-underwrite, like, is one's Trump derangement syndrome causing more damage than anything that Trump could have actually done? And I think the answer is yes, because like it's now causing us to not see that good work and then embrace and extend it. So much of the work that happened in that administration turns out to have been right. And that's what's so frustrating for me. The work on the border wall. We didn't like the messenger, so we killed the message. Turned out it was right. Issuing long-term debt to refinance when rates were at zero. We didn't like the messenger, so we killed the message. A structural peace in the Middle East. We didn't like the messenger, so we killed the message. When are we going to stop shooting ourselves in the foot? And when are we going to actually see and take the time to look past who is saying things and actually listen to them word for word?
Boom.
So good. Well, that's why he's going to win this election if they let him run. He's going to win. Well, I think the abortion thing really shot the Republicans in the foot.
Yeah.
I think a lot of women are not happy about that, whether they publicly say it or not.
I think it's a gamble. It's like what percentage of people are pro and what percentage of people are against, and how many of the people that are actually going to vote, the real hardcore,
right? You
know, red till I'm dead. How many of those people are pro-life? Probably a good number. And the other ones are not going to vote Democrat just for that issue. If you don't, I believe with Trump with everything except killing babies, I'm not going to vote for him in that. I just think you should be able to do that. Very few people are going to do that unless you currently need one right now. You know, and then that might sway your judgment. Right. But very few people, if most of the chips are stacked in this one direction, but there's just one.
Yeah.
The thing is the thing about it is the control thing. The thing about it that is kind of crazy is being able to tell someone what they can and can't do, and to say there's no debate.
Right.
Well, it's clearly a debate because people have been having abortions all over the place, and we're not putting them in jail. Right, so there's clearly a debate as to what that is.
Yeah, and it's also that it's one of those things where it's like you're morally against it. So then if you're morally against it, then you don't do it and be morally against it. But it's one of those things that's going to happen. It's like being morally against something doesn't change anything in the real world. Say like with Israel and Palestine, like I'm morally against it. It's like, okay, what's that going to do?
Right, but
it's not going to stop people from dying.
To an extent, because once the baby's born, then we all agree you can't kill it.
Right.
So there's a number.
But most of the world does like what? First term, after first term is not good.
Yeah, I think
there's got to be a compromise.
It's interesting because people are
because abortions aren't good. Even if you're on the left, abortions, you can't say abortions are good.
Well, when the people that want them are, there's. Did you see the video of that trans guy, or a trans woman rather, who said he wants to be the first person to get a transplanted uterus, get pregnant, and have an abortion?
It's got to be a joke. You can't add comedy to comedy.
It's probably a dude.
Yeah,
it's probably just a regular dude. Just thought it would be funny. Start a TikTok page, say the wildest shit.
Yeah,
we're coming for your kids. I always think that about the guy with the stubble and the lipstick. I'm like, that's probably not even real. Yeah. This one.
But because they want to get an abortion.
Trans woman to have a successful uterus transplant, ovaries and eggs included, and I want to be the first trans woman to have an abortion.
If it's true, it's comedy. If it's not, it's also comedy.
It's China's victory cry.
Yeah,
we got him. Yeah. That's what I think. I think China TikToked us into a fucking coma.
They certainly have. Yeah.
I think we did it to ourselves partially, but I also think for sure, just like I said, like it has an effect on narratives about which way people believe, what they agree with and don't agree with. Whatever they can show you on that algorithm, that shapes things in a certain direction.
Well, I think they saw what our culture's about, what our weakness was, and they used it against us. You know, fame, what we worship, Tom Cruise, fame, and then once they democratized fame, they were like, "Oh, let's use this.
Yeah.
Let's promote. Let's make stupid people famous. Let's make simple things famous. Let's push these in the algorithm so people see it, because then Americans will go, "Oh, I can get famous too," and then everyone started becoming their own Madison Avenue agency, marketing wacky, zany versions of themselves.
If you know actors, and you know actors, and I know actors, not all of them, but there's a percentage of them that aren't even people.
No, they're vessels
out of their fucking mind. And if you can convince that guy that wearing a dress to the Golden Globes is going to get him more attention, he's going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to do it.
Yeah.
He's going to wear high heels, and you're going to tell him he looks fabulous, and this guy is straight as an arrow, and it doesn't matter. He's just gaming the system.
Yeah. The people who are really into fame, you can really convince them to do anything.
Almost.
Yeah, because they want the
that's-
fame, they want the attention, they want it bad. They want it so bad.
That's the question.
They want it so bad.
That's the
They're
question.
obsessed with being huge.
Yeah.
And I've met people like that. They're obsessed with it. That's what they
Yeah.
want. It's just what they want. That's how they're built. It's what they're into.
And then the producer puts his hand on your leg and grabs your hog.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, but I want the movie. The
And you
movie's
do
so
it.
important.
And you do it. And you
The
do it.
movie's so important. He grabs you by your hand, takes you into the room. Ooh, Yannis. How bad do you want to be Iron Man?
Yeah.
How bad? How bad? How bad do you want to be Peter Parker?
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Well, that's probably what tips the scales, whoever's willing to do that the most.
Well, Quentin Tarantino was telling us about this old director that literally had a bedroom built into his office where he'd bed the starlets. So he had his office, they'd go into his office, and there was a bed in a room. And he would take them in there and bang them, all of them. You want to be in the movie? You got to fuck the producer.
Fuck the producer, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Especially once you get that system up and running and you've created a few stars and you know how to do it, and they'll, oh, it's Frank. He's the guy who runs the office. He can make you famous.
And he can.
And he can.
And he can, and he will.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting now because the world knows that that's the way it works, because it does. It does work that way.
Well, the Harvey Weinstein thing just
Yeah,
opened
it
up
just
that
opened
can
it
of
up.
worms.
It's like, that is how it works.
Yeah.
That is how it works. A lot of times people who rise up in the system are bad people.
Especially those kind of systems,
Yeah.
systems of power and influence. But I would say that that's like, well, I was always talking about Hollywood in that way, that is like, it's a perfect proving ground for like the absolute worst way to develop a human being. You take people that are already fucked up and they need extra attention, and then they move to a place where they're surrounded by people who are fucked up and need extra attention, and then you make them compete to see who's worthy. And you go in there and pretend to be someone else, and they decide whether or not they're like, you're someone else or his someone else. And you have to figure out what they like and try to be their friend. Maybe bring them chocolates and maybe talk to them about the latest Roe v. Wade issue. I, for one, have always been with a woman's right to choose. And they'll like formulate their ideology based on whatever this group of people. So this group of people achieves ultimate power. And, you know, like if you step out of line politically with any of those people, you're on that shit list and you're not going to be in that movie. 100%. You either keep your fucking mouth shut or you go and you wear your fucking pink ribbon and you do all the things you're supposed to do, the black square on Tuesday. You do everything you're supposed to do or you're not getting in. And so everybody is just like this like weird shell of a person trying to figure out what's the thing they're supposed to say and what's the thing they're supposed to support.
Yeah, it's a miserable way to live, but
it's a whole industry.
They
And that's
love
how you
it.
make fake stuff.
Yeah.
That's the only way to make fake stuff. You
Yeah.
got to get those fucking crazy people to pretend they're a minor.
Yeah. There's plenty of those people willing to step up and act that way.
It's just a terrible place to like be a human. And in that environment, it's so hard. Like I so admire actors who are cool. I so admire them. Because like, oh, you're just a guy. I can just hang out. Like Chris Pratt, bro. If he was right here, he's like my friend from high school or something.
Yeah.
He's like a regular guy. Just happens to be a giant movie star.
Yeah.
Like, how did you do it? You got through. You're all right.
Well, his looks didn't hurt.
It helps.
Yeah, it helps a
lot.
bit,
But you
yeah.
could also be a douche with looks like that.
You can be, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. If you are, it's like, why?
Right. You already won the
If
lottery.
you're a douche and you look like that, you're like, well, dude,
He's a
take it
fucking
easy.
sweetheart of a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of guys like that. Like, I've always loved Ethan Hawke. He says a lot of profound things. He seems like a real normal guy. Lives in Brooklyn.
Yeah, he seems brilliant. Did you see
Yeah.
that new movie?
I haven't seen it yet.
What is it called? The new Netflix movie. It's an apocalyptic.
Oh, it sucked.
End of the world movie.
Oh, I didn't like it.
You
Yeah, I
didn't
did
like
see
it?
it. No, I did
How
not like
dare
it.
you? What is it
Yeah.
called?
Leave the world behind.
Leave the World Behind. You thought it
like
sucked?
I didn't like it.
What did you not like about it?
I just thought it, I don't know. It just didn't.
I loved it.
You loved it?
Loved it.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't love is the animals showing up in their backyard. I'm like, this doesn't.
That seemed a little over the top. It
This
seemed a
doesn't
little
make
over
any
the top.
sense.
If I think what I didn't like about it, it seemed a little over the top.
Well,
I
that
liked the
was-
theme of it. I liked how they kind of turned on each other a little bit.
Yeah, but not too much.
Not too much.
But it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think they're preparing us?
Yeah, well, for sure they set up
Get a
an
bunker.
affair. For sure, Ethan's weak and the other dude is strong, and
Yeah.
you know that's gonna work out well. You know, I mean, there's not enough people.
Yeah. Julia Roberts still looks great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, the thing that threw me off in that movie was the fake animals, the CGI animals. Like that does, you just took me away. You've developed this intense psychological thriller. You don't need to have this weird animal mystery thing in the
And it
middle.
didn't
of
even
You
go
don't
anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, they
Well, there's no logic behind it.
Yeah.
There's no reason why the animals would all just show up in your backyard like that.
And they never explained it or nothing ever happened.
Unless you live in Texas. They're everywhere. But
Yeah.
they're everywhere every day.
Yeah.
This movie was great and not so great in the same time. Like that part was not so great because
Yeah.
it didn't make any sense. But the rest of it did make sense that people do go sideways, you know?
Yeah.
I thought that who played the guy that Kevin Bacon.
Kevin
Played the
Bacon.
crazy guy.
Underrated actor. He's so good. He's such a good actor.
Very
Yeah.
good. I would have liked to have seen him more.
Yeah, that's the thing. There
Like,
was.
why
it
do you
was.
have one scene?
I agree with you.
This fascinating guy who's already prepared.
I agree with you. It seemed like that whole in the house stuff was like a little. We got it. Like
Yeah, we
kind
got
of
it.
got that part.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also the tension didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
They wound up being friends.
Yeah.
You know, like the girl and Julia Roberts, like they hate each other in the beginning. They bitch at each other. Then they're hugging each other at one point in time. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Why'd you make them fucking cunty to each other?
Yeah.
You know?
That was just that. Yeah, I didn't love. I
Why-
just didn't think it was. It could have been better.
Why did he not have his wallet on him? Like, what is all about this?
Yeah.
He drives there with, I must have left it in my jacket. It looks fake. You're setting me up.
Yeah.
There's real drama.
Yeah.
The world is over.
Yeah.
There's real drama. Why do
Yeah.
you get this weird interpersonal drama? There he is. He was good in it.
Yeah, there
And
was.
you know what's really fascinating? There was this one weird moment where the daughter and what is the gentleman's name? The same guy that's playing Blade, right?
Ali, I'm not sure exactly.
How do you say his name? He's awesome.
He was
though.
great in it.
He's awesome.
He was great.
It just like when the daughter said to him, "You can't trust white people." Everybody got so mad. Everybody got so mad. Isn't this a movie
Yeah.
where two black people are in a house with white people at the end of the world? You don't think that's a reasonable thing to say?
No, it's also part of the black psyche. They're always
Mahershala
thinking
Ali.
that. They're
Mahershala
always
Ali.
thinking like, "Can I trust this guy?"
Yeah, well, why wouldn't you say that you're
What?
a young girl?
Yeah.
That's on brand.
Yeah.
You're a young girl with tattoos and nose rings, and you say, "Don't trust white people."
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
Duh. Why would people be upset at that?
Yeah.
Oh, look at Obama made this movie, and this is the agenda. No, that's not. Watch the movie. That's
Yeah.
not what it's about.
Or hang out with black people. There's
Yeah.
always a little something where they always have it in their head a little bit.
Or they always have a story. And you're
Yeah,
like,
it's
what did
like-
he say to you?
They went through
And
some
you're
trauma.
Like, yeah, that's what he said to me. And you're like, whoa. That one-on-one racism when no one's around has got to be the scariest shit.
Yeah.
That's got to be the scariest shit.
Yeah, you can't just wash away that trauma. It happened.
Yeah, it's a movie. It's a movie about people that are experiencing heavy levels of anxiety.
Yeah.
Where the world is over.
Yeah.
There's war going on. No one knows what happened. Planes are falling from the sky. This girl's mom's dead, probably. Spoiler alert.
Well, everyone's like overreacting now to the how that's been politicized, right? Like the race stuff and the DEI. So if they see any glimpse of that, they just attach.
They get mad. Even if it's just a reasonable part of a story.
Right.
I mean, you got to give people room in fiction to make realistic human beings.
Yeah.
If you don't think a realistic 20-something-year-old girl who's with her dad, where they're in a guest bedroom of their own fucking house because these other people Airbnb'd it, but the end of the world is here, you don't think you'd have some fucking shitty things to say, especially if no one's around?
Especially if the woman, who's Julia Roberts, is acting like shitty.
Yes.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Doesn't trust you.
Yeah, everyone's so charged now on the culture war. You can't avoid. I just posted this clip on my Instagram where I made fun of, because Trump came up in the releases and Clinton came up in the releases. And of course, they say they go, oh, that's all been debunked. It's debunked. That's what the media says. All been debunked. It's all been debunked. Even though both of them were hanging out with Epstein. It's like, what were you hanging out with them? Were you guys golfing?
There's photos of them all.
Yeah,
together.
they were at it. And Trump was at Clinton's wedding. Was at Trump. The Clintons were at Trump's wedding. They're all like
Ghislaine was at Clinton's daughter's wedding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I posted this clip, and the comments are just people yelling at the other. He wasn't on it. They just can't see past that.
Also, those people, a percentage of them are bots.
You think so?
100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. A certain percentage of those, 100%, a certain percent. There's a certain number that are not real people.
That's true.
That is all what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Foreign governments, they've found so many of these sites. They've found so many of these troll farms. There's videos of them. The Internet Research Agency in Russia is completely dedicated to trolling America online and dissolving our faith in democracy.
That must be a fun job to wake up to do.
Amazing.
You wake up and you're just like, you just
those
post.
dudes are funny. Yeah. I had Renee DiResta on. She's one of the people that investigated it, and she said there was hundreds of thousands of memes. She goes, and some of them are really funny.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really laughing while I'm like fucking documenting these things.
It makes sense because I always thought, like, who's sitting around making these memes? Like,
Dude.
It's got to be somebody's job to do it.
There's definitely some of them are just funny people.
Yeah.
Because my friends have made memes and sent me memes because it's about something that we did.
Yeah.
It's very funny. I love memes. It's
Memes
my favorite.
are funny.
My favorite kind
I know
of
you
comedy.
send me sometimes. Yeah, they're great. Yeah.
I don't send you enough. I get a lot of good ones here. I'm gonna get each one that we could never use on the air. Because, but I'm gonna just show it to you real quick because it made me laugh so hard. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible.
It's horrible, but it gets the point across.
It's horrible. Oh my God, there's so many of them, and you just laugh so hard. And there's no victim. No, there's no victim.
No.
It's just. And it's a one-on-one thing. I've sent that to like my friends, and they sent it to their friends. We're all sending it to each other, and I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
It might have come from a troll farm in Macedonia.
No, that one seems, because it has no political implications,
Right.
that seems like it was probably made by somebody
Well,
with
I
a really
think
funny sense of humor.
One of the things that they detailed is that they developed pages, right? So they would develop like an Instagram page or a Facebook page based on something that was popular. So maybe they would use Yannis Pappas clips, right? Use a bunch of clips of you and your characters and all your bits. And then they do it without your consent, and then develop a channel. They did one with a Barbie channel, like fans of Barbie dolls. They did one with like Legos. Like they'll and then once they accumulate a following, then they'll switch it over and have it become a meme page. And I've seen this before. I went to one that I found the other day because sometimes if a meme just stumbles across my Instagram, I'm very curious about this whole process. Like who's making these, where are they coming from? So I clicked on the link. And I went to their Instagram page and I saw a bunch of memes, but also a bunch of weird stuff and some weird political stuff. And I'm like, what is this? So I scroll way back. And in the very beginning, it was just like a regular page. It was like they were promoting something, like some gaming thing or something like that. And it was just a regular page. And I think they'll do things like that just to try to get some traction of following going, and then they'll start launching things.
Well, then you can hack the algorithm just because the algorithm picks up on the engagement. It's all computers.
A story in the Wall Street Journal from a few years ago talks about a Los Angeles marketing company that got a bunch of smaller Instagram accounts to give them control.
They do that.
And then they started posting a whole bunch of Russian troll propaganda.
Yeah, they'll do that. They'll trick you into like giving up your passwords, and we'll handle this for you. We'll manage things, and yeah, I have a friend who was she was going to do like a podcast with this. She's a musician, Suzanne Santo, and she was doing this interview, and they were going to do it live on like Facebook Live, so you get like a video stream. And so she's like, I'm not sure how to set it up. They're like, oh, just give us control and we'll do it, and we'll do it on your screen. So she, files all the stuff and enters in her code and her password and sends it to them, and then they just shut off.
Wow.
And then they just took over her account. And they've been doing it to a bunch of different artists. So if you have 100,000 followers or 150,000 followers, now they just take over your account and then they sell Viagra or fucking, Bitcoin or whatever it is.
You can't get it back or.
Well, she got it back.
Yeah.
She got it back. Luckily, she protests and she knew people and she got it back. Wow. But you could lose it forever easily. Russian trolls made fake Kid Rock fan accounts and fooled Donald Trump Jr. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like it's not a small number of people.
No.
I think it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I think Renee DiResta was speaking about this from the 2016 elections.
Yeah. Well, remember that whole the kid, the Covington kids. It was some account in Brazil that edited the video to start it so it looked like
he came up to them.
The kid came up to the.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was some account in Brazil, some fake account in Brazil.
Interesting.
And they look for moments to try to sow discord.
100%.
Yeah.
The more that they can get us at each other's throats, it's it almost seems engineered.
It is engineered.
But I mean, it almost seems engineered that we fall for it.
Well,
like
I think
our government doesn't step in and say, "Hey, look at what's going on here. We need to figure out a way to mitigate this."
I think they have been. I think they've been bringing it up. They've been trying to.
What they've really been doing is trying to get at people that criticize the government. That's what they really try to do. They try to ban accounts that do things that they don't like, and that's been shown in the Twitter files.
For sure.
But there's not the same kind of emphasis in going after Russian trolls that are trying to sow discord and try to encourage reasonable conversations. There's not emphasis on that.
Well, I think that's more the social media company's responsibility. I don't think they wanted to do it because it inflated engagement and they could go to their shareholders and say, look how popular our pages are. We got 1 trillion members and like half of them are fake, and look at all this engagement and half of it's fake. They don't want to say half of it's fake because it looked good for the stock.
We've talked about this before, but there's this guy who was was he an FBI security analyst? Is that what he was, Jamie? That said that 80% of the accounts on Twitter may be fake?
That makes sense.
80.
It's a lot. Because you always meet regular people and they're like, what? I'm like, did you see what happened on Twitter? They're like, what? What are you talking about, man?
But I don't know what that means. Does that mean 80% of the accounts are accounts where people have burner accounts? Or like what percentage of them are just burner accounts? Because there's a bunch of, I know some comics that have burner accounts or say wild shit.
Just on.
Just log in through a fucking VPN and say some wild shit.
Yeah, I don't have any burners.
I don't have any burners. I don't have any time for my own account.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a burner account. But if I did,
you have some fun.
I'd have some fun.
There's a few I follow online. That they get people like on ESPN to repost a fake tweet all the time.
Yeah,
like daily. They just word it or make the meme or the picture look so good or so right, and it just sounds outrageous enough. Like so and so is fighting about something crazy, and they just repost it without checking into it.
That sounds like me. How many times have we had something that I heard, and I'm like, "What is this I heard?" And then Jamie has to look it up. Oh, this is what it's actually about. Like, oh,
that happens.
Yeah, that's the world we live in.
Listen, that's what happens if you want to do the show for real, like this. Like if you want the show to be what it is, which is just talking shit in real time, you're gonna make some mistakes. I'm gonna say some things that I heard about. They might not be true.
Yeah,
but. Is that really my fault? Like, should we really be paying attention to that, or should we be paying attention to how are we so fucking confused? How are there so many trolls? How much money is being spent to make us mad at each other all day long?
A lot of money.
Yeah, and
from
how do you
agents.
Develop immunity to that? How do you develop antibodies to that? How do you develop an ability to just not be affected by that and to have some sort of a moral, ethical personality like a compass where you know where north is?
Well, this is all new. Never before has so much information been available to people and so many different versions of reality presented. Yeah. So it's new. Whatever is going to emerge, it will be like some sort of superhuman who can be able to have unbelievable intuition and just know. Maybe like this will force humans to evolve to a point where we can like mind read, or any little face tick will be able to tell if you're lying or something like that. Everyone else will get fooled, but the ones who are able to tell the truth will be able to just like really like, oh, his eye moved. I know he's lying. Bullshit.
Yeah, like think about like voice memos. You know how you say voice memos? Like you could say into your phone, call Yannis Pappas today at 4 o'clock. And it writes it down in text. That's kind of how a computer is at picking up whether you're full of shit. But you're a lot better than that. If you're talking to someone like, why didn't you meet us there? It's like, oh, there's this thing I had to do. It was like, I forgot to tell Mike. I left my keys in my house. You know, like there's something about the way they're talking. You're like, oh, he seems full of shit. Like you just pick up at it.
Yeah.
Or like, are you mad? No, I'm not mad. Okay. And there's something. You're like, no, dude, you're mad. Tell me what's going on. Why are you mad? What's going on? Just let's talk. Why are you mad?
Yeah, computers
I'm
aren't
not
as
mad.
good as that. Yeah,
computers are going to say, I'm not mad. Okay, good. He's not mad.
Yeah.
But you're like, dude, you're upset.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it matters? Do you think the truth matters? Does it matter?
In what way?
Like,
what do you mean?
Like, is there like massive consequences to living in a fantasy world or believing lies or making up stories or stealing stuff or like plagiarizing? Like, you know, Biden was caught doing like, you know, Claudine Gay was a big story. Now they're going after Eichmann's wife. Like, does it matter? Does originality matter? Does being genuine matter? And why not? Like, it's an interesting thing because I think this is definitely not the era for being genuine. This is the era of like, I want to make you believe what I want you to believe for my benefit.
I tend to be a glasses half full guy. So I say, no, this is the age of being genuine because that other stuff is everywhere. And if you want to really just have actual connections with humans, just actually be a real human. Like, be there. And the only way you could do that is if you're being truthful. Now, if you're plagiarizing and you're also trying to connect with people and you're trying to pretend that you're the person that figured these things out, I don't know you. I don't know your capabilities now because they've been greatly inflated by you repeating someone else's work and trying to pawn it off as your own.
But that's rewarded. It seems to be rewarded.
Yeah, it's also
for
busted.
a while.
But it's being busted now.
Right.
People are being busted. And when you step out of line, like Claudine Gay did at that, when they're speaking, was it a congresswoman they're speaking to? They were asking her about, like,
yes,
is saying death to the Jews, is that harassment?
Yeah.
And they're like, is it, if it's actionable?
They're like, well,
it's the craziest thing I've
what
ever
were they
seen in my
wearing
life.
when they said it? How did they say it?
It just shows how far this mind virus is taking people in academia. They're literally out of their fucking minds, and they're shaping young minds, and they're influenced heavily by foreign governments. That has always been the case. That is what Yuri Bezmenov talked about in the 1980s.
That's right. I've seen that
video.
video.
That video is wild.
Yeah.
And he talks about introducing Marxism and Leninism into universities and education and changing the narrative for young people, destroying their faith in democracy. And it's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
And these people are a part of that system, and they don't realize how fucking crazy it is. How fucking crazy it is that you're doing this.
Yeah, they don't realize they're being manipulated. They don't know what the source is. They don't know what the intention is.
There are those people in San Francisco with the masks on dancing around.
Yeah.
Because that's their world.
Yeah.
That's their environment. Their environment is fucking crazy.
Everyone's kind of in a bubble. It's interesting. And as comics, we see the different bubbles by going from this city to that city.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa. A lot of people, most people don't get the opportunity to do that. So they just think their bubble is the way it is.
Yeah.
And they don't see the other perspective.
Yeah, if you don't travel a little, you don't meet different kinds of people, you don't know that different kinds of people exist. Like, when I lived in Boston, like, you get used to, like, that kind of people. You know, like fucking hot ass, fucking just hardworking, no bullshit. I gotta shovel snow people.
Is there a version of you that stays in Boston, meets some wrong Italian kids, you get a nickname like Joey Mule Kicks?
Yeah, I could have
He's like, fuck you, kid.
Hey, if I didn't do stand-up, I would have probably still be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I would have figured out a way to travel the country without stand-up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have gone anywhere. I probably would have just stayed in Boston, complained about the winter every year.
Yeah.
Maybe a bunch of my friends, as we got older, we decided to escape to Florida.
Yeah, you go all-inclusive, maybe a little Cancun action.
Nah, you're not going to live in Cancun.
No, do an all-inclusive.
vacation.
Yeah, a little vacation.
Yeah, but I'm talking about moving.
Oh, move it. Oh, that's the dream.
I'm going to stay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna. But most likely, I'm going to stay in Boston.
You're not going to move to
And
Florida.
I'm not
going
to be going on the road.
No.
Like as a comic, you do ridiculous. You're in Ohio, then you're in Mississippi, then you're in Florida, then you're in Michigan, then you're in Nevada, then you're in Utah.
Yeah.
You're going all over the fucking place as
Yeah.
a comedian.
Yeah.
That's an education in humans.
Such an education.
Yeah.
Such an education. I speak to my brother all the time about that. Like, he doesn't see the world. He lives in D.C., and sometimes I'll send him stuff like, you know, making fun of Nancy Pelosi or whatever, and he like just can't. He can't process it. And I'm like, you live in a bubble. You're just in a. And he at one point he was, I do, and I want to stay in it. I want to stay in that bubble. So,
Well, if you're busy, I get it.
Yeah.
For them, the answer is truth important? No.
No.
No. Can they get Uber Eats?
That's
is
right.
Netflix on? Is Netflix on? Are they getting a raise at work?
And we're not really a truth-seeking animal. The truth is uncomfortable. The truth is uncomfortable. It's tedious. It can be vicious. It can be mean. We're not a.
Depends.
That's why I think we're so susceptible to marketing and advertising. Nobody wants to know the real truth. Nobody wants to know how the sausage is made. Everyone wants to just believe the image that they see on the screen. Nobody wants to know the truth. And that's why I think there's often not a lot of consequences when people are caught being inauthentic, because people want to believe it. Like, who do you blame, really? I mean, the conner or the conned? I mean, the conned are complicit. You want to believe.
I think we're about 5 years away from mind reading. I think it all goes out the window.
Once we can mind read?
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yeah. I think within 5 years, it's all out the window.
That's going to be interesting.
Have you seen the new Galaxy AI phones?
I'm not scared of it.
Have
Put
you
it
seen
in
these
me.
new Galaxy AI phones that translate in real time?
No.
They translate in real time, in language, audio rather, and in text. So you have a phone, you set the phone down, like we would have a phone, we'd set it down here, and one half would be facing you, the other half would be facing me. Like the text is upside down so that you could read the text. And I would say into it, in whatever language, hey, Yannis, you want to go to lunch? And it would translate into whatever language you have and then say it out in real time. So the way when it sets up, so we can do it like where you see. So you can do it a couple different ways. One, you can do it when you're calling people.
It's on a call, the one on the screen.
Yeah. So you're calling people, and as they're talking back, it will translate it in real time. And it would also translate it if you're wearing, I think, the Galaxy earbuds. It'll translate it in audio. So it'll give you whatever that person's saying in English.
Wow.
And then you say it back to them, and it will translate it in Thai or whatever they're speaking.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're headed into an interesting place.
Right. So
Yeah.
once you get to that, once you get to this, where language is no longer a barrier. So this is the beginning, right? This Galaxy AI this is like the best smartphone that you could buy right now. This is the beginning, and then what this is really is like Atari.
Right.
This is like some shitty pixelated version of a video game that you play. Within 10, 15 years, it's going to be the Unreal 5 engine. It's going to be some insanely sophisticated way where the moment you and I talk, we're going to have earbuds in and we're going to be able to speak all languages. I'll know exactly what you're saying. You'll know exactly what I'm saying, and it'll be razor focused. It'll have it down to. There'll be a few confusions and words and stuff like that, but they'll iron that shit out over time. And then there'll be universal discussions, universal talk, and then we'll all be connected into some sort of a hive mind, some sort of a matrix of frequencies that the brain is interacting with all the other people around it. So you're going to be able to do all this without using words. And we're all going to be reading each other's minds. And you're going to know intentions. You're going to know truth. You're going to know deception. You're going to know hate, anger, lust. You're going to know when someone wants to fuck you. You're going to know when someone wants to run away from you. You're going to know everything.
Wow, it's going to
be a different kind of person.
A different kind of
but
world.
People would say, "Oh my God, but what would we even be then? How could I live like that? How could you live the way you live now in a metal box with rubber tires going 70 miles an hour down a hardened surface they threw over the grass so you can get to your air-conditioned house where you got a refrigerator with food in it and sit in front of a television that just like pumps in other people's artwork into your fucking brain so you pass out and then you wake up in the morning and do it all again? You don't think that's crazy?
It's a great description of it.
That's fucking insane. That's insane, and that's everyday life. That's normal. It's normal to be completely connected to your phone, incapable of leaving it in the house and going for a walk.
Yeah. Yeah. And we live like that now, and we figured it out, so we'll figure it out.
The mind-reading thing's coming, son.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's going to be a totally different way of thinking. Just like right now with the internet and with the access to information that we have now, it's a completely different way of finding out what's true or what's not true.
Yeah, even if you think about the world, the way the world's changed just by how criminals can't get away with doing crime. Like there's cameras everywhere, there's DNA.
Everywhere.
I think that's probably why serial killers have gone away is because, I mean, they've lessened a lot, right?
Yeah, but there's a lot of random, you could do random stuff. Robot reimagines the digital experience with AI-powered R1 device. What is that?
Rabbit.
What is it?
It got shown at CES. I'll show just the video that Lewis made from Unbox Therapy describes it pretty quickly. I was trying to find a better video, but this I think does it really good job. This kind of replaces the phone, and we'll see if people really
teaser on their new AI-powered device. It's got a grill on it. It could be for the speaker, it could be for the mic. Oh, it's definitely a hardware device. Oh, there's the mics on the top. It is like voice as the primary input. It has a rotating camera, and I saw a little SIM door as well. So cellular, so standalone.
Start my morning routine. Order me an Uber.
Check the fridge, order the ingredients to make that again tomorrow. Watch what I'm doing here. Process all my new photos today just like this.
Okay.
Massage my prostate.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
feed me cake. Massage my prostate.
Figure out what my wife wants to eat.
The last
and
bit
it
of
goes, can't compute.
It costs $200, and it's coming out very soon. But it can do stuff for you. And how? I don't really know.
But the thing about phones is social media. It's TikTok, it's YouTube, it's Instagram. It's being able to see things over and over and over and over again. If that doesn't have a screen or that little bitchy-ass screen, and it's mostly just talking into it.
There's other devices that are coming out now to replacing that. There's these very simple, they're cheap too, 27-inch screens that'll follow you around your house.
What?
They're with you all the time.
27 inches?
Yeah, touch
It
screen.
follows you?
It's full of apps. I'm sure it's an Android device.
So wait a minute, does it float?
Like
a robot?
Right now, it's like a little Roomba robot that can charge for 7 hours.
Can you imagine everywhere you walk, you have a giant screen with you, you get nothing done.
Yeah. Yeah, how about the Apple goggles are coming out?
That's the other part of it too. Is that you're going to decide if you want to wear these goggles or here's the LG one.
So what I was saying though about that Galaxy phone is AI that allows you to translate like that. Now allows you to do a bunch of other different things. One of the things it allows you to do, like if there's a photo, like if someone sends you something, you just circle it and it'll do an immediate Google search of what that thing is. It'll tell you what that thing is. It'll either, you could buy it. It'll give you like links where it's for sale. It'll give you a history on it. It'll take you to a Wikipedia page and whatever that thing is.
Yeah, it's like ChatGPT does that pretty well now.
But it's in your phone.
Yeah, it's in your phone, yeah.
You just circle things.
Yeah.
It just goes right to them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's also able to summarize things now. Like say if you sit down with your phone and you make a bunch of voice notes. Like you go on a rant about something. You're like, oh, I know there's something funny in this. I don't want to work it out totally on stage. Let me work it out in my office. And you just go on a rant about this thing. It will then transcribe it, and then you could say, summarize this for me.
Wow.
And we'll summarize it into bullet points and paragraphs.
Yeah, well, I know now.
On your phone!
Yeah. With ChatGPT, you could go on there now and go, give me a joke in the style of Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And it'll give you a joke. And then people could probably just change a few things. And
Yep.
it's going to, I don't know what being genuine is going to mean in the future.
Well, I think it's going to lead us to be more inclined to give in to this mind reading thing, because the opposite is going to be too much chaos. If it's one or the other, it's either complete chaos, you never know what's true, or you know everything that's true. And we all have to agree that this is the best way. The thing about that is if everybody has to wear it, dictators, everyone, that ruins the entire hustle. It ruins everything instantaneously. You can't pull off anything anymore.
Right.
All the people in Congress that are committing insider trading, all the people that are in the military-industrial complex that are inflating dangers to try to get us involved in a military conflict that's going to get them a giant fat contract. They're going to make large dollars.
And then if you try
see it all.
If you try to persecute somebody for a thought that they had, then they'll find out that if you had the same thought, and they're like, you're full of shit, man.
Or they'll also give, why are they mad at you for that? Are they really upset? Are they being charitable with their assessment of the way you think and behave, or are they just trying to play some stupid social game and win some little conflict with you and just get?
You think it'll get that sophisticated? Will it understand the context of your feelings?
100%. Yeah, I think it'll be a new language. I think it'll eventually evolve into a universal language. So if we're going to be interconnected with AI, which with this new Galaxy phone, the S24 Ultra, you clearly are interconnected with AI in your phone. It's actually built into your phone. They've engineered the chip to work specifically with AI in that phone. This stuff is only going to get better, man.
Right.
It's only going to get better. And I see it getting better to a point where we're probably going to be integrated physically with these things, whether it's something that you wear, like a little headset that you wear, or something that they put in your body. And it's going to be way better with it than it is without it. In the beginning, most people aren't going to do it, but once they get it dialed in and they've developed some sort of, whether it's Neuralink, and there's a bunch of different competitors that are doing similar sorts of technology, once they figure out a way to really enhance your brain and really enhance your ability to gather information and process information and supercharge it, everybody that has that will have such a significant advantage over everybody that doesn't, that
everyone's going to do it.
We have a real risk of people not doing it.
Right, people are going to have to do it.
Right, because what if Kim Jong-un does it and just takes over the world? What if the people that do it just are the worst people alive, and they just use that as we're going to lock everything down, starve the world out, central bank digital currency, fucking drones everywhere. No one gets away with anything. No one gets a chip but me.
Right, right.
Yeah, if you become a god, you
and
become
there's
a
no
super
way to
genius.
stop. There's no way to stop the progression of technology.
Impossible.
Yeah,
impossible. The only way is an asteroid.
Yeah,
something big. We'd have to have like a natural disaster that sends us back into the Stone Age. That might be the only way to stop AI.
Right. Well, hopefully we can,
or nuclear war.
We can divert that with nuclear weapons or something. Maybe that will come in handy.
I don't think they can do that
for
yet.
something. Yeah, they probably can.
I don't think they can do that yet.
But hopefully they will be able to.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't think they could do that. I think we're pretty far out.
Yeah. Well, something's going to hit us eventually.
100%.
Yeah. Something was going to get us.
And
you look at the moon; it's just been fucking hit so many
hammered.
times.
Yeah, it's like a teenage kid with terrible acne.
Yeah. Looks like it's bad.
Accutane commercial.
Yeah,
yeah. We've been hit, man, 100%, and we're gonna get hit again. We're in a shooting gallery.
Yeah,
flying around through the universe in a shooting gallery.
There's things just flying out there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a mad race. It's a mad race to get to the point where you could defend it, have the technology and the ability to manipulate. Whether it's asteroids, comets, natural disasters, super volcanoes, being able to manipulate things in real time.
And once you have kids, you root for them. You're like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
I can understand if people don't have kids. Like, who cares? Let it blow up. But once you have kids, you're like, no, survive. Let's all survive. Keep it going.
I get the I don't want to have kids. I don't want the responsibility. I get it. But what I don't get is that, the world doesn't need more people. Do you like people? Because I like people.
Love people.
My favorite friends are people.
Yeah, that's what we're doing here is making people. Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. Yeah,
I love people. The idea that we shouldn't make more people seems fucking insane.
It's crazy, especially when you do it and then you feel the love that you have for your kids and you're like, this is the greatest thing. And then you just become a better person.
Yeah.
You just become, everything about it is positive. Everything about having kids is positive.
For most people.
I can't see how it's negative unless you're a fucked up person.
You gotta be a fucked up person.
Yeah. But if you're a little bit of a fucked up person, having kids makes you a better person.
I've definitely seen that happen before, where people experience the love of their child and they just straighten their life out.
Yeah.
But I've also seen people fall apart.
Yeah. Well,
it's some people they fall apart, man. Some people fall apart.
But they were going to fall apart over something else anyway.
Yeah. Anything.
Yeah.
Some people they get addicted also to being picked up. They want to fall apart. They want all the attention that comes with you falling apart.
Yeah, you got your borderline personalities and people like that. Yeah, humans are fascinating.
So fascinating.
They're more fascinating than the universe. They're so complex. That's
why like one-dimensional, politically minded, ideology-driven people online are so insane to me. Like so insane to have that view of humans. you have this completely binary view of humans. The good people and the bad people, the right and the left, and like, you know, the morons and the smart people in the room. Like, okay.
Well, we have these loopholes in our, like the confirmation bias. We have these loopholes where we can be manipulated. It's just
that's how cults get started.
Yeah, it's there. It's a weakness. It's a vulnerability that people have that they're almost defenseless to. Like they're subconscious, and there's manipulative people know how to hack that shit. They know how to manipulate. They do it. They do it very effectively. Marketers do it all the time. Advertisers do it all the time, and it works. There's this guy, Darren Brown. Nobody explained it better than Darren Brown, who's this medium. You know who he is?
I've had him on.
Oh, man. If everyone just watched him manipulate people and then explain how he did it, you'd be like, yeah, we're all prey to this. Nobody can see it coming.
Yeah.
That one episode where he convinces that, I think he's a famous comedian in England. It was the craziest thing. He brings him in. He makes him write a week ago what his ideal gift would be. And then he makes him put it in an envelope and his ideal present and seal it up. And then he brings it in. Then he brings it in a room. He puts him through this whole thing. And he goes, okay, now what's your ideal present? And he changes it to the thing that he wanted it to be. He's like, it's a red bike. I want a red bike. And then he opens the box. It's a red bike. And then they opened the letter to see what he said, and it was a leather jacket. And even he forgot what he wanted. And he said, I walked into the room going, it's a leather jacket. But he manipulated him with suggestion and images and words that he said, and he changed what his actual ideal gift would be. And it's like, and you go, and then he explains to you how he did it. He shows you how he did it. You're like, none of us have the defenses to stop that.
That's crazy. Well, it's just like that thing that you were saying that you do for your mind.
EDMR.
Like there's a you can kind of like hack it.
You hack
it. You can hack the brain.
And then reprocess the memories, which essentially after you reprocess the memories, you end up remembering them that way. And the emotional charge gets removed. And that's how it goes.
Now imagine AI hacking it.
Yeah.
And that's what these chips are going to be. That's what these things, whatever these things are that are going to be in your brain, they're going to map it out. They're going to find out why things do this and why things do that, and then just reprogram the whole thing.
It's going to be crazy.
And it's going to happen in our lifetime.
It's crazy.
We're the last of the meat humans.
We're gonna have metal in us.
Yeah, not just metal, silicone, technology, batteries. We're the last of the meat humans.
Do you think our body's going to reject it at first? People will get like infections, cancers. Like you can't just put something in the brain. The body rejects foreign objects.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't. Pacemakers work. There's a lot of things.
True,
that work.
true.
You just have to find something that's hypoallergenic and find something that's maybe organic. Something that the body will integrate, just like it integrates with titanium neck discs. And
True,
fake
you're right.
Backs and
well, you got to take like some antibiotics and shit. Yeah,
no, you don't have to if you get like plates in your arms and shit. No. Like if you get a broken arm and they put screws in there and plates, you don't have to take antibiotics forever. You do initially.
Yeah,
but that's just
initially,
because you've been cut. It really has nothing to do with the metal.
Oh, okay.
It's you've just been cut open and you're exposed and you get MRSA. Medication-resistant staph infections.
No good.
Those put people in the hospital for months. They
kill you
people.
too.
They kill people.
Yeah,
that's some sketchy shit.
Yeah.
So, like, if you can put like a titanium rod in your shin, they could put a little fucking thing in your spinal cord.
That's
just
gonna be
little thing that you screw in place every day. You leave it charging by the bed when you go to sleep. And you screw it back in place, and
it's gonna be insane.
Locked into the real
What
matrix.
would a conversation be like if we knew what was going? You'd be like, Yannis, calm down. I know you're nervous. Just relax. No. You'd be like, no.
Well, the argument is we're going to create an artificial life.
And I'd be like, Joe, pay attention. I know you're thinking about Marshall. Stop it. I'm here. We'd be like, it may be weird at first.
Weird, yeah.
At first.
It'd probably be annoying.
Yeah.
It'd be the end of art.
Yeah. I'd say thank you, and Jamie would be like, for what? I'd be like, well, Joe just thought that my hair looks good.
You would just say thank you with your mind.
Yeah.
You would go like that.
So we just sit in silence? Would we just sit and make facial expressions at each other?
That was one of the first things Elon said about it. He said you're going to be able to talk without words.
Yeah. Do you think he'll be more like socially good?
Him?
When you're, yeah. You think his mind version will be like really on it, like as far as like timing and socially? Because sometimes he'll pause. You know,
but he pauses because he actually thinks.
He's thinking.
He's not bullshitting you.
Yeah.
If you ask him a question and it's
goes,
a complex question, he'll sit there.
Yeah.
And he'll run it through his head and really think. That's the sign of a genuine,
That's
intelligent
genius
person.
shit, yeah.
That's not a person who's just bullshitting for the masses.
It's understandable that he's socially a little weird because his brain is doing a lot of fucking shit. Yeah. His brain's going through a lot of things.
Yeah, I asked him about it. I'm like, what's it like being you? He goes, you wouldn't want to be me.
His brain's just going.
Because I thought everybody was like that when I was young, that everyone just had these ideas just running through their head all day long.
Yeah.
It took them a while to realize.
Yeah. Some people don't.
Some people don't. Most people don't. But I mean, that's the kind of guy you need if you want someone who makes electric cars and rockets and fucking satellite internet and buys Twitter.
And that's why you need a system like we have that allows those people to rise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, also, you need a guy with balls. Like Elon had the balls to step in and buy Twitter.
Yeah.
And reinstate some fucking shaky ass people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a loss there because the advertisers are probably like, hey, who are you putting back on?
Yeah. And then he said, when they were like, you're going to blackmail me with money? Fuck you.
Yeah. Go
fuck you.
fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's really how he feels.
Yeah.
When you've got that kind of scratch and he just keeps making more money, you know, how much is SpaceX going to be worth? You know, how much is the Boring Company going to be worth once they start actually fixing traffic with tunnels, shooting cars on the ground? I mean, this is an insane guy.
Well, he's essentially done what like Walmart does to small businesses, but he did it for a good reason to try to promote free speech. Because Walmart just goes in, loses money for a bit until they charge you cheaper, lose money for a bit till they put you out of business, and then they recoup their losses.
Well, I wouldn't connect it to that. I wouldn't compare it to that. What I would say is this is probably, from what I've read, I haven't actually discussed this with him, but what I've read is that this is one step in a multi-step process of turning Twitter, now X, into an app you use for everything. Used for banking. They already have an AI that's attached to it. Was it called Grok? Yeah. Why is it called Grok? What does Grok stand for?
Grok means like, do you understand?
It's from one of the movies.
Oh, because the word grok means like, do you understand? Do you fathom it? Do you?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In what language?
Do you grok in English?
Oh, really?
Yeah, grok. Grok.
No shit.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, that's a perfect name for AI then.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I've literally never heard that word.
It's
I
not
thought
a
it was
word
someone's
used
name.
a lot. Yeah.
That's actually the reason it says that's why they named it that.
Yeah.
Ah, that makes sense. So they have the AI, right? So they have Grok. Now just think about how much open AI is worth. The AI model called Grok. No, you son of a bitch, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, they always make you try to subscribe.
Motherfuckers in your goddamn. The AI model called Grok, a name that means to understand in tech circles, is designed to answer questions with a bit of wit and has a rebellious streak. So please don't use it if you hate humor. Reads an announcement on the company's website. Okay. But how much is OpenAI worth? Like, how much is that company worth? How much is ChatGPT worth? Just Google that. What's ChatGPT worth? So ChatGPT is the one that people have been using and talking about more than any of the other ones. I do know that Microsoft has one. So it's worth what? How much?
You have to ask what you said before.
What is the value of ChatGPT? How much is Chat? Yeah. 29 billion. Okay.
According to ZachJohnson.com.
OpenAI is an American research organization with a current net worth of approximately 29 billion.
This says 100 billion.
This one says 100 billion. This is December 23rd. So this is really recently. OpenAI valuation of 100 billion in sight with funding round, and that's from Fortune. Okay, so it's in sight. So let's just call it 80 billion. Well, he bought for Twitter for 44. So even if Twitter's only worth 19 now, if this Grok takes off, there is a potential to be a competitor to something like this and to be just as big.
Yeah.
If people really start using AI for everything, and it seems like they're going to start using it, and they can incorporate it into devices and a bunch of different things and different ways to use it. So you have that. Then you have multimedia streaming. He's doing the Tucker Carlson show, which is there, and I think he made a deal.
Don Lemon.
Yeah, but who's going to watch that? And
maybe it'll be a wild version of Don Lemon. I mean, it's a wild version of Tucker Carlson now.
Liquored up.
Yeah.
Liquored up Don Lemon talking shit.
Yeah. I mean, Tucker's not the same Tucker. I mean, he's interviewing the guy that con man who said he fucking blew Obama or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's having fun.
That one's wild.
Yeah.
That one's wild.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing, bro?
It's a little
Why
different.
are you interviewing the guy who blew Obama? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Who had like a huge record of conning and being a liar. And, yeah.
Did he have a huge record of being a
Oh,
con man?
huge.
Why do I want to believe him, though?
Huh? Because
do I
it's
wanna believe
fun.
him?
Because it's fun as fuck. But when you look at the guy, he's got like charges all, like his whole background is conning.
Well, he's a hustler.
Yeah.
He's a gay hustler. I mean, that's basically what he's saying openly that he did with Obama.
Yeah.
He had money, he got coke, and gave him sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tucker's like, I believe it.
Tucker's like, I believe this guy.
It's
Yeah.
so crazy to have that guy on your show.
Especially when just Googling his background. And like he's not a new guy. He's been around for a while. He's come up in other political campaigns and stuff.
I think what Tucker's doing is brilliant. First of all, I think going over to Twitter was brilliant because like so many people were paying attention to it then. And the numbers were giant, like crazy numbers for some of the episodes. Then you go to a subscription model, like $9 a month or something like that, whatever it is. You know how many people are going to sign up for that?
Yeah, the subscription model is the best way to stay free.
You got to stay free. Yeah. If you're not free, you're fucked.
Yeah.
The only way in the future is going to be subscription models. Most of these companies, like if you're on YouTube right now, you have to watch what you're saying. I don't really want Spotify. Spotify's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
But for the most part, with a lot of these social media companies and these companies that are producing these things, they have a very clear mindset as to what is acceptable and not acceptable.
Yeah, Spotify kind of stuck by you during all these controversies. Yeah.
I want you to imagine if Tucker Carlson had a YouTube show and he brought on the guy that blew Obama. It was just a YouTube show.
I'm tuning in, even though I know it's a joke.
But don't you think they'd pull it? Don't you think they'd mad at it? Well, okay, let's imagine Theo Vaughn has the guy on that blew Obama. Now it's over.
Yeah.
They're going to yank him 100%.
Probably yank Tucker more because Tucker was Theo would probably have a lot more fun with that.
Yeah, but you can get rid of Theo, and getting rid of Tucker is more of a stink.
Right.
You know, like Theo, Peloton contacted him when he had Robert Kennedy Jr. on. And Peloton was like, get rid of that episode.
Right.
And then Dana White found out about it and threw out all the Pelotons.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Just like companies have a very clear idea what you should be able to say and not be able to say.
Yeah.
And for comics in particular, that's a real problem.
Yeah, well, you can't blame the companies. They're just thinking about their bottom line.
Yeah.
I mean, we would do the same if we worked for those companies.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you're just a numbers guy.
Yeah, you're just a numbers
company.
guy. Like, hey, we don't want to be attached to that.
Yeah, we need advertiser revenue.
Yeah. It's not even about going like, hey, pro con. They're like, we know it's a hot button topic for people or whatever, and we don't want to get into it. We want to sell bikes.
That's why what Elon did is so wild. You know, that's really why it's so wild.
I mean, everybody's back on X.
Everybody. People
Hollywood
probably
Hogan.
should be back on it.
He's like Hollywood Hogan. He switched from Hulk Hogan to Hollywood Hogan. Dun, dun, dun. NWO. X.
Everybody's back.
Everybody. You see everything up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of good, but yeah, then there,
There's a lot of not so good.
I follow some people who are straight Nazis.
Oh, there's definitely
There's
Nazis.
straight
on there.
Nazis.
The Taliban's on there.
Yeah, I mean, everybody. Taliban's on there. The Nazis are on there. Maybe that's good, though, because then you can see them and you know what they're doing as opposed to having them hide and then you don't know what they're up to.
Well, that was my argument about the feds infiltrating these terrorist organizations. Like, especially even things like, well, they couldn't even say if the feds were involved in January 6th. Of course they can't say. Because sometimes they have to be involved. Like, whether or not they did instigate getting people to go into the Capitol, and I don't think they wouldn't do that. But what's more important is if you've got something that might be an insurrection, you kind of have to be there. Like, you're a part of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You have to look into that. Like, but when it gets to like the plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer, and you find out that there's 14 people involved and 12 of them are FBI informants, 12 out of 14, and these two fucking dopes get railroaded for the rest of their fucking life for some cosplay scheme in their head, their stupid 84 IQ head of going and kidnapping the governor, and you find out it's all set up by federal informants. Like, I think you're doing it wrong.
Is that what happened?
Yep.
I'm not aware of that at all.
Oh, it's the greatest story.
What happened? That's verified.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Pull it up, Jamie.
Crazy.
12
Yeah.
of them were informants. Well, the head of the Proud Boys was an FBI informant. The head of the Proud Boys.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He was an FBI informant?
Yes. Wow. And they still put him in jail.
It's dirty.
Dude,
That's dirty.
There was a story, a
That's like
hilarious
Whitey
story
Bulger
back in the
dirty.
day. Yeah, they did that.
Yeah,
That's
was
another
dirty.
one.
Yeah.
Whitey Bulger was a fucking murderer, and he was working for the feds.
And he continued to murder as an FBI
I don't
informant.
think 12 of them were actually informants, but they may have actually worked with the FBI in some form. I don't know if it makes them an informant, though. This says only 4.
Jamie, are you an informant apologist? That's what I'm getting out of here. It says only 4? No, there's more than 4. I know there's more than 4. I was reading this very detailed breakdown of how many of the men had no connection to the FBI.
Here, go to the AP News. FBI lured men.
Yeah.
Says 4, though.
I know. That's the thing.
Wait a minute. The 4 men charged with planning to kidnap. How many other people were there that weren't those men that weren't charged? Because the FBI informants weren't charged.
They said they were swayed by informants.
Exactly. How many informants were there, though? Why don't you write how many FBI informants Whitmer kidnapping? How many FBI informants? What does it say here?
A total of 12 informants were ultimately involved in investigation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's it. That's the number that I'd heard. A total of 12 informants.
According to BuzzFeed.
Well,
yeah, who knows?
I mean, this is right here is the New York Times.
Yeah, let's see what they say.
Well, sometimes we don't believe the New York Times.
Sometimes
yeah, well, they
that
were
too.
wrong about that fucking bombing of the hospital.
Yeah, they were.
I'm pretty sure that's the story. I'm pretty sure there's 12 informants.
I think I'm not an informant.
Here you go. Here you go. The FBI deployed at least 12 informants, as well as
several undercover agents, according to defense filings, on the nighttime surveillance operation of the government's cottage. For example, the defense described Big Dan as the main organizer. Stephen Robeson, with a long history of both past crimes and work as an informant, was there too. The explosives expert who could topple a bridge was actually an undercover FBI agent, as was the man in another vehicle. The defense lawyers, using the same trove of evidence material, have built an entirely different scenario of what happened. They depict an accused as reluctant puppets entrapped by the FBI agents and informants whom they say came up with the kidnapping plot.
so it's a he said, she said about whether the informants were like just going along, getting the information, or actually pushing them to do it.
Well, they also had actual FBI agents that were pretending they were bomb experts who were going to blow up a fucking bridge. Look, it's a scam.
Yeah.
It's a scam. You gotta put out fires, so you start a fire.
Well,
there's firefighters that have done that.
It's suspicious that the FBI was heavily involved the whole way through this. It's
weird.
Seems weird that's an
Seems
understatement.
weird.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just arrest them?
Yeah.
If you thought they were planning on
and
doing
so if
that.
you see them there doing that, then you could easily say on January 6th they were there also rallying up morons. Right.
The same type of people that would do that.
Yeah, and they probably were, because there are videos of people opening doors and shit.
Yeah.
So those videos are not
Also telling people, let's go in there.
Let's
people
go in
calling
there.
them feds.
People still
There's
went in
videos
there. They
Yeah.
still did that. So
Yeah,
those
don't do that.
Yeah, you still have agency. You're an adult. They did
Yes.
it, but yeah, it doesn't seem as clean as people think.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Because they definitely wanted to make Trump look bad.
Oh, yeah.
They were constantly trying to make Trump look bad. They tried to do it with Russia. They've tried a lot of things to try to get that guy.
Yeah, and the videos that they show are like it's getting stormed by barbarians. But then you see that dude getting a tour, the shaman dude with a buffalo hat on.
That's right.
Getting a tour. The guards are taking him around, showing him around. I thought he was violent.
A lot of different things happen
I
in
thought
different
this was an
places.
insurrection.
Yeah.
It seemed like a bunch of dopes just wandered into a building. And now what? They didn't
Yeah.
know what to do.
Yeah.
One guy, though. One guy had zip ties on.
Yeah, I think it was different people had different motivations.
100%.
And I think there might have been, there's your evidence right there. They were doing that there. There's a good chance they were doing that on January 6th as well.
Kevin Bacon from the Netflix movie. He would have zip ties.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to have different fucking people.
You got different people, yeah.
They're all going to that thing because
Yeah.
they think that the election's been stolen.
Yeah.
Some guys are going to show up with zip ties.
Yeah.
And that's when it gets scary.
Yeah.
That's when it gets scary.
That's when it's been interesting. And
Yeah.
knowing what's true and what's not true is it's not as easy as it used to be.
Nope. And it's only going to get worse with AI. AI is going to make things super confusing.
Well, the scary thing about AI, I'm still more scared of people than AI. AI has been nothing but helpful to me.
For now.
For now, yeah. I'm scared of people. People do bad things. But where it can get very dangerous is if you do like an AI video of Putin saying we're launching nukes, and then you think it's real, and then we launch the nukes, and
yeah, or actual fake footage of an attack.
Yeah, we got to stop war somehow. Like somehow we got to fucking.
How do we do that, Yannis Pappas? You're a smart guy.
God, I don't know.
Maybe we get people to do this thing with eyeballs.
Maybe the EDMR. Maybe sitting Putin down and be like, "What's this really? What did your mother did? What? Let's talk about your mom. What's it about?" And then sit down. I don't know, because like you said, obviously NATO, was interested in Ukraine. NATO was interested in the former Eastern Bloc as well. But the Eastern Bloc is very interested in joining NATO. Finland's interested in joining NATO, not because NATO's manipulating them. Like a lot of these theories just forget that these countries have agency, and
for sure, but that's not the theory about the red line.
No, I'm just saying.
Ukraine.
I'm just saying Ukraine.
That's very specific.
Ukraine wants to be part of NATO. They want to be a democracy. The majority of them do. That's why they're fighting. I mean, they're fighting. We're not forcing them to fight. I mean, they are fighting and dying. They don't want to be part of Putin's world. They don't want to be part of Russia's influence, and Putin doesn't like that. And he, all those other former Soviet republics too that are now, part of NATO or aligned with NATO. They're aligned with NATO as a precautionary measure too against Soviet expansion or former Soviet expansion or the threat of it. Or they
Doesn't
just
it suck that you even have to think about this?
It does suck, but we see it from here.
Yeah.
But when you go and you talk to people in Finland and places that the Soviet Union did invade and did conquer and did force into their republic, in the USSR, they have a different view of it. I mean, it's like it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, to your point, it's very complicated over there. It's like Israel and Palestine, it is complicated. You have to go all the way back to the beginning because the Jews made that land important to them for religious reasons because they used to be there. So it's like you have to go all the way back to that in order to understand the conflict now.
Isn't it wild, though, that from October 7th to January 18th, just a few months, it goes from horror and outrage at this terrorist attack on a rave, on a music festival, entering these people's homes and shooting them and killing them and torturing them, sending them cell phone videos of you killing and torturing people to their families. It goes from that to death to the Jews. Just a couple of months.
I mean, the Jews got sympathy for about a minute and 30 seconds.
For just a couple of months.
Yeah.
But then you see what they did to Gaza, and you go, yeah, that seems kind of crazy.
That's a little heavy. That's bad. That's
It seems-
very bad.
it seems
And I'm
like
against
you're
all bad
erasing
things.
It seems like they erased the city.
Yeah.
Like when you look at it now, like from an overhead, what it used to be versus what it is now. Have you seen that lately?
It's horrific.
It's crazy.
It's a horrific, and it's bad. And those people can never, I don't think, live together. And
that's a blow that you don't shake off. You
No.
don't turn the other cheek.
And that's what they're doing, and that's why they're doing it. They're doing that, going like, but it also, I think, makes Israel look
Look at
really
this.
bad.
Look at
Yeah,
this,
it's-
dude. Look
they
at
leveled
this.
the whole place.
I mean, this is like.
Wait,
do
are you
remember
sure it's
those-
not Aleppo though? Because I know a lot of times videos say it's Gaza, and then sometimes it'll be Syria.
I think this is
Either
what I
way, they're
saw.
bad.
This is the Guardian.
Yeah, so
3
it's
weeks
bad.
ago. This is the Guardian.
Sometimes
So
you just gotta make sure.
I think the Guardian's on it.
Yeah.
This is insane, dude. It's insane.
No, they leveled the whole place.
It's so much.
Yeah.
So much damage. And it looks like apartment buildings. Yeah. I mean, bro, that is crazy. That's crazy. And if you watch the footage, have you seen some of the bombs go off?
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's so crazy what they can do now with these bombs. They're so powerful.
Well, that's from the river to the sea. You're trying to say like that Palestinians are going to be repatriated. It's just, unfortunately, it's not going to happen. Like, and you can't pick and choose, right? You can't go, hey, we want the Palestinians to get their homes back and get rid of the occupier. But then what about the Kurds? What about the Armenians? What about the Greeks in Anatolia? I mean, the list goes on and on and on of people who've been pushed out of their homes. And and population exchanges. And what about the Jews in Medina during the Muslim expansions? What about the Jews in all the Muslim countries that were forced to flee when Israel founded? You just go on and on and on. It sucks. What about Cyprus, northern Cyprus? That was illegally. It was illegally invaded by Turkey after Turkey was formed, and then population exchanges happened there. Like, people hate each other, and there's a UN line of a peacekeeping zone between North and South Cyprus. They hate each other. The Greeks want them out, but innocent people aren't dying anymore. So it's like you got to find a real world solution. You can't just keep yelling about who's right and wrong. And indicting Israel for things that other countries have done. Are we going to give back Texas now? I mean, the list can go on and on and on. It's wrong, but it was wrong when the Romans kicked them out. You're going, oh, you're going 2,000 years back. Well, you're only going 400 years. I mean, so what's the difference?
Right.
We're all going back. I mean, the Jews were there.
Right.
I mean, yeah, the crazy religious zealots are fucking want it because of Jerusalem, and all these religions want Christians. Jerusalem's important. Islam is important.
You ever seen those radical Christians that go on that journey to Jerusalem?
Yeah, and I seen the radical Jews who spit on them too.
Wild stuff.
Wild shit.
Yeah.
But you got to find a real world
the Jews
solution.
Spit on them as they walk by.
Yeah, they just spit on the ground. Yeah, people are fucking nuts. They're fucking out of their minds.
Do you think that my thought about mind reading software, universal language, fixes a lot of that stuff?
Yes, it does.
Fixes a lot of it.
It does, because I think what's happening to the Palestinians, unfortunately, is they're being used by surrounding powers as sort of like frontline Marines to keep this issue going, to keep fighting against Israel and America's encroachment in the Middle East. And they just use these people. And
have you seen the border?
Terrific.
The border to Egypt?
Yeah, it's more sealed than the one in Israel.
Show the border to Egypt.
Yeah, they don't let them in there either.
But it's so over the top.
It's crazy.
Like, we need that in Mexico. That is a dope ass.
Get that going.
Get Trump to look at that. Yeah. Because that's a real wall.
Yeah.
Good luck getting through that fucking wall.
Yeah.
Can you see if you can find that, Jamie? I just saw an article about it where they were talking about how strict. I don't know. The one I saw had barbed wire all over it. Yeah. They got that motherfucker locked up.
But how long is
It's a good question.
that border?
It's a significant border. I mean, it's not.
How big is ours? We got a bullshit wall.
Ours is, I mean, our wall or our border?
Our wall.
I don't know. The wall is bullshit. But it's not. It's obviously.
If that many people can walk through your wall, I mean, imagine if those were the White Walkers.
Yeah, they would fucking.
They'd kill everybody in Game of Thrones. The boundary between Egypt and Israel stretches 206 kilometers, 128 miles along the eastern edge of the Sinai Peninsula, from the de facto trip point with Palestine, Gaza, to the Gulf of, how do you say that? Aqaba? Aqaba in the Red Sea.
Egypt and Israel made peace like a long time ago, right? Like the 70s. I think Egypt was the first country to go like, all right, we're
they were
done
very
fighting.
Close to making peace with Saudi Arabia.
Yes,
it was very close.
That was happening. Yeah, I think they have peace with Jordan too, right? So
the United States border is
possible.
1,954 miles. But how much wall do we have up? 20 miles. We have such a bullshit wall. The wall is such bullshit.
Dude, the left was so against the wall, and now I think a lot of the left is going like, yeah, just build that wall. Just don't tell anybody I told you.
Well, especially the people that are living in New York where Governor Abbott is bussing Ecuadorians in by the fucking truckload.
Oh, dude, you see them. You see them now. I've seen them. I've seen migrants.
Yeah, I know
nobody's into it. Yeah, nobody's into it. The most left people, nobody's into it.
Well, that's reality.
They're in 4-star hotels. They don't know what to do with. I know a guy who works on it. I know, he's a top level guy who is in the military and also NYPD, and he's working on that. And he goes, the scariest part is there's no plan. There's no plan. So they put them in hotels. Some of them are in the lobbies. They give them these food stipends. They go across the street to Arby's. They eat. But there's no plan. They're just holding them. There's no.
And they keep coming in.
They just keep coming in. Some of them are going back now because they're going like, we're not fucking getting
Also, it's cold as fuck.
It's cold as fuck.
You go to Chicago?
Yeah, in the winter.
Whoops.
But, and he goes, here's the taxpayers are paying for them, And he goes, oh, and the taxpayers are also paying for me doing overtime. Like I was assigned to this in addition to my usual assignments.
Yeah.
I was assigned to this. A lot of people who are doing this on an ad hoc basis. It's an emergency situation, and so the taxpayers are paying us all this overtime money, so the taxpayers are getting looted.
And it's happened so fast.
Yeah. And he's not a quacky guy. I mean,
well, that's not a quacky thing to say.
He's not a quack. He's a very reasonable, smart guy. And
well, I mean, what is the solution? And this is how fast it's happened. We did movie night the other night. We watched Maid in Manhattan. You ever watch that?
No.
It's Jennifer Lopez, a hot maid,
yeah.
and Ralph Fiennes is a handsome politician, and she pretends that she's some socialite accidentally. It's like something. Anyway, it happens in the Roosevelt Hotel. The Roosevelt Hotel is where they have these immigrants.
That's right.
So that hotel's not a hotel anymore.
No.
It's a ritzy hotel in this film. Where it's a nice hotel and they have all these
it's a 4-star
maids.
hotel. Yeah.
Beautiful hotel.
Yeah.
Well, now this hotel is flooded with immigrants.
Yeah.
Imagine you own that hotel.
It's crazy.
I mean, how does that work? Does the government just give you a contract? You say, I'll take it?
No, this mayor
They give you money?
Not great either.
Oh, he's terrible.
He's
But
terrible.
he's better than the last guy, which is even wilder.
Yeah, I mean, who
that
knows?
de Blasio was out of his fucking mind.
He was out of his mind, but this guy's turning it. I mean, talk about plagiarism. His book, he had to remove his book. So he wrote a book. And, I guess people are looking for this now. So it's like half the book is plagiarized or made up. None of it's true. So he actually had to pull his book because it's all lies. It's just happened.
He was all in favor for the sanctuary in the beginning. The rich history of the Pakistan-owned Roosevelt Hotel in New York. Pakistan International Airlines has leased one of its most valuable assets, Roosevelt Hotel, in New York, the city's administration for a period of 3 years in order to raise money for its struggling economy.
This happened in 2020.
So they're for Pakistan's struggling economy. So they're leasing out the Roosevelt to the city so that they can have money?
Yeah, because the city pays them.
Yeah, the city pays them.
Yeah.
But what about just running it as a hotel? Is that less profitable?
It closed during, so that their problem started with COVID, as those other was going to be going to them, so they had to find a way to make some money off it.
Also, Airbnb has really hurt hotels.
Yeah,
in general.
I bet.
Yeah,
but not in Manhattan. In Manhattan, if you're in Manhattan, you get to stay in Manhattan.
Yeah. COVID
You're
probably.
going to see Guns N' Roses at the Garden. You're not going to fucking stay in a Airbnb on Long Island.
Or Kill Tony. Or go see Kill Tony.
A lot of my friends they prefer Airbnbs over hotels, and I just find it crazy. Like almost the majority, I'd say 95%.
Tim Dillon until they banned him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in one right now, an Airbnb. It's I'm in a nice one.
Great.
Yeah,
Some of
they're
them are
great.
great.
They really have hurt the hotel business big time.
Just like Uber hurt the taxi business.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
I mean, it's a very interesting way to make money off of property.
Yeah.
And it's significantly more. And you could just rent it out to different people on weekends. And if you have a really nice place, you can make a ton of loot. You can cover your nut.
Yeah, that's right.
There's people that make money off Airbnb houses. It's a side business.
That's right. It's the only thing preventing a BlackRock takeover of
and then
real
fucking
estate.
weirdos set up cameras to watch you shit.
I'm actually was thinking that
You
when I was in the
should be thinking
Airbnb. I
that.
was looking for cameras. I was like,
Bro,
where are these
the
fucking
odds
cameras?
are. I know a guy who could sweep it for you.
Well, I'm only there one more night.
Man, one more night is enough for you to be whacking off with your
I
socks
haven't jerked off in 5 days just because I'm worried about it.
Crazy.
I did think about that, though.
Yeah, you got to do it in the shower.
Yeah.
If they got a camera in the shower, they're a real piece of shit.
Yeah. But that's where you'd want to put it.
Yeah, you'd want to put it in the bathroom
Yeah.
or in the bedroom, like overlooking the bed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an odd sprinkler above me that I'm like, what is
It was
that?
one of the sons of one of the owners of Buc-ee's, which is the craziest
I
gas
know
station
Buc-ee's,
ever.
yeah.
They one of the sons got busted with a camera in the women's room.
Oh, no.
Was it the women's changing room? What was it?
They have a changing room at Buc-ee's.
I mean,
Wouldn't
for
be
employees,
surprised.
maybe?
Dude, what don't they have at Buc-ee's?
Yeah, exactly.
You can buy lawn furniture, a brisket
Yeah.
sandwich,
You can buy everything.
anything.
What happened?
28 counts of recording.
Crazy.
Just pull it up. Here. Invasive recording following disturbance at multiple residences associated with him.
What is he following? What is he filming? Camera alleged containing memory card loaded with dozens of videos capturing individuals in various states of undress in bedrooms
Yeah, it wasn't
and
happening.
bathrooms.
It It wasn't at Buc-ee's. It was just that's just his link, as he's the guy.
Oh, so he did it somewhere else?
At his properties he has all over the
Oh.
city. It seems like. Dallas apartment, Telluride, Colorado, condo
Okay.
in Austin.
So Airbnbs then?
Yeah.
So he was doing that.
Yeah.
That's it. Is there there's other companies other than Airbnb that have that same service?
Yeah.
So brutal.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Creep.
It's creepy.
But
and
also,
the cameras are so small, man.
Son
you
of
can
a
do it.
rich man.
Yeah,
you
how
know?
do you make someone grow up normal when they grow up rich and privileged? It's tough. Like,
good luck.
You
Good
know,
luck.
the fate is usually DJ or drug addict for rich, famous kids.
Uh-huh. Scary.
Yeah.
Well, just being a regular person's hard.
Yeah.
Being a person when, you grow up and your dad has a private jet and a yacht and owns an island.
It's tough.
And hangs out with Clinton.
Yeah. You don't want to work for anything. You don't know what the value of anything is.
Yeah, everything's been given to you for free.
Yeah.
You don't know how to work hard.
Yeah.
I think athletics is a good way to teach kids how to do things. Do difficult things and you learn from them. Art, anything where you have to actually work at something. You develop character from working at something.
Yeah. You teach your kids that, right?
Yeah.
You're so good with time and balance. Because you're an involved dad.
Yeah.
How do you do it? Is it I
only work
plan
out.
it that way, or
yeah, you have to work. You have to plan it. But I also only do stand up for the most part 3 nights a week.
Yeah.
So 4 nights a week I'm always home.
Yeah.
Unless I have to do road stuff, and sometimes I take them with me, and we go on vacations together. We spend time together specifically. We have family days specifically. It's hard. And it's also they want space too. They're in school all day.
Yeah.
When they come home, they want to decompress, and you got to know how to not be imposing, but also talk to them about stuff, and organize stuff to do, make it fun. We have a lot of fun together.
Being a dad is it's just overwhelming.
Yeah,
it's overwhelming how great it is.
It is great.
It made me be like, do I want to still do I just want to be home with my kids, and so the road got a little I had this real crisis where I was like, I want to be home. I don't want to miss time with my kids because that's what my parents did to me. And I'm like,
it's hard.
The balance is hard. It's hard.
It's hard.
And I remember I even asked you privately, and you were like, no, that is hard. And you didn't give me a solution. I was like, fuck, I was hoping for an easy answer. And you were just like, no, it is hard.
A friend of mine the other day was telling me that his son had some athletic event, and he got an offer to do a gig in Calgary. And I'm like, is it important to him? He goes, yeah, you could work anywhere. You don't have to do that weekend.
I'd give it up in a second. I'll give the money.
Off.
I don't give a fuck about the money.
But the thing is if you're barely getting by, if you're kind of scratching and scraping, and you got to pick and choose, is this advancing my career? Is this fucking me up? Is me not chasing my career going to be a detriment to my family? Because now we're going to have a financial crisis.
Yeah.
So there's that. It's just like you were talking about, people start making money and becoming famous. They're terrified it's all going to go away. There's also when you're barely getting by, you realize, or you're getting by, but just you're above water, but you realize one catastrophic thing and you're under and you're fucked. And then the house gets repossessed. And then you're staying with your mom. Your kids are together in one room.
It's a real fear.
If you got a mom, you got a mom,
right?
What if you're in a shelter? What if, what the fuck, man? So it's you have this intense desire to be a provider. And you know that you have to put in the work. You have to be successful. It may be way more successful. Being responsible for little people and a wife and just the family thing. Being responsible for stuff.
Yeah.
And then now I'm responsible for employees. I can't just quit.
Yeah.
I just quit.
Right.
I have this whole club now. The podcast. What the fuck would Jamie do if I wasn't here?
He'd
be
golf
so
a
bored.
lot.
He'd be so bored. He'd get bored. He'd miss it.
Of course he would.
He'd be Googling in the air out of nowhere with one hand.
It's a real thing. It's a real transition when you have kids and it's a real pressure.
Well, it's a real.
Yeah.
Life is finite. You have a finite time. You have a finite amount of time that's available to you living as an organism on Earth. That's a fact. And I am already more than halfway through that. I'm halfway towards the end. And you have to maximize your time to the benefit of both yourself and everybody else around you. That's what you got to do. You got to be as good a friend as you could be. You got to be as good a husband and as good of a father and as good of an employer as good of an employee, as good of a neighbor. You got to be the best you can be at all these different things. Just do your best to have the most positive impact on the people around you. You're going to fuck up. Everybody fucks up. We're humans. Correct that as much as you can. Express yourself as best as you can.
Yeah.
Be as nice as you can.
Yeah.
Try to facilitate and try to encourage fun and happiness and love. And that's possible. It's possible in the community of people that you find yourself in. And if you can't, you need to find a better community.
Yeah. Or you got to be a better person.
You got to be a better person.
Yeah.
And you got to that's all. You have to be a better person to attract a better community. Like whenever I see someone single and they're like, "Oh, I can't find a person," like, what do you have to offer? Like, who are you? Like, are you a person that someone would gravitate towards? Are you particularly kind? Are you particularly friendly and generous? Like, what is it about you that you think you should have someone that makes your life better? Because you probably ruined their life. You're fucking dour. You complain all the time. You're so lazy.
It's hard to say that to somebody, but when you know it's true, yeah, you're like,
let's go.
Yeah, look at you, dude. The reason why you're struggling is because you.
And also, you're stuck because you're struggling. You're probably tired all the time because you're depressed. So it's very difficult to gather up the energy to make change, to make like a radical change in your life. To say, today I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and I'm going to go to that fucking yoga class. And I'm always saying, I'm going to get to that 6:30 yoga, and then the alarm goes off. And like, fuck that. I don't really have to get up till 8. And I'm just going back to sleep. Or just go to that yoga class. And then 8 o'clock rolls around and you're leaving. You're leaving the yoga studio. You got your rolled up mat. You're with those other people that all fucking did it. Everybody did it. We fucking did it. We got up early. We did the 90-minute class. And now I'm going to go to work. And now I got some momentum. But it's hard to just make that first step. And that's one tiny little step in this gigantic journey of self-improvement. And if you don't take those steps at all, if you're that fucking dude that just gets at home and just medicated, watching Netflix, Uber Eats, wake up, do it all over again, you're going to feel like shit.
Well, I think it's hard for people to take the first step. I think because a big part of depression is feeling like it's going to last forever. It's kind of the delusion that that feeling pitches you.
Yeah.
It's a weird mindset where everything is poisoned. Every thought you have is poisoned with this negativity, and you start to actually think back at your life and think that it was all that way when it wasn't. And
it's hard to remember the good times.
And when you're in a dark place, I think the thing to remember is that it doesn't like the suicide. Suicide comes in your brain as like an escape hatch. It's like your fight or flight thing going like, this is an escape. It's trying to help.
Right.
It's like when your immune system is overactive.
Yeah.
It's like your fight or flight is overactive. So you have to remember that and just getting help. People sometimes just don't get help because of shame or whatever, but it always ends. The bad always ends if you put the work in and remember that it doesn't last forever and that your thoughts are not there. It's a delusion you're in right now. It's not real. Like your brain is playing a trick on you. It's not a reflection of reality. It's a reflection of the way you feel, and the way you feel is fucked up right now, and that's changeable.
Yeah.
But it's hard to realize that when you're in it, and that's why people struggle with it, and they make unfortunate decisions, and some people take their lives and stuff like that. It's because they mistake it for something that's unchangeable, that's ever present, because that's the way it feels. But feelings are not facts. Ask Ben Shapiro.
He seems to get in his feelings a lot.
Yeah. Well, it depends on if Israel comes up. His feelings. He's got a lot of feelings.
Oh boy, he's all in.
He's all in on feelings when it comes to that.
What a crazy world we're living in, Yannis Pappas.
It's gotten crazy, man. It's gotten crazy. You got a couple of conflicts that you hope don't escalate and don't spill over.
At least we still got shit talking. At least we still got a little stand-up comedy and some cigars.
Comedy helps people.
Helps me.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Tim Dillon for 3 hours. Even though he has a doom scenario that he's painting, it's hilarious.
Oh, he's so funny with it. And
he's so good at
I love
ranting.
to just listen to him and let him go.
Oh, yeah.
He just goes. We have great
He's
times.
the absolute best ranter about like current issues, like with no audience, sunglasses on, out of his fucking mind, making great points and also being hilarious.
He is the best, and he's original. He's absolutely original. He's been that way since the moment I met him. I met him when he first started doing comedy. One of the first shows he did was My Room, And he's been that way. That's who he is off stage. That's who he is on. All his material comes from inside.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people get their material. He looks like Cool Mo D.
Skull and Bones sucks now. Give me some of this.
They're doing like diversity, equity, and inclusion in the Illuminati in Skull and Bones, which used to be just let's get a bunch of people that show that they can carry on the tradition of being a sociopath. That's what Skull and Bones is about. It's like finding rich people that have a skill set that makes them look like maybe they can be sociopaths. And it's at Yale University. The CIA started. It was taken right out of Skull and Bones. Okay. So many bonesmen have risen to positions of prominence and power. Presidents, CEOs, we get it. A lot of white guys. They would jerk off in the coffins. It was very like Nazi. I think George W. Bush stole Geronimo's skull, and it was in the tomb. And there's all this secret in the tomb. And
he bleeped it.
Now it's like they're annoying.
Yeah, he did because it's a short. So.
Oh yeah.
So if you bleep it,
Maximum.
it like cuts through the algorithm.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my
They
god.
don't want cursing in
Yes.
the first like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yes.
Or something.
Oh, they're fucking you. They're getting you to self-censor. Even Tim Dillon has to beep things.
Yeah. He's a guy, he sits, he thinks. The material comes from his perspective. It's inside. A lot of guys search around, they look outside, and they go, oh, I like that idea. And then they go,
Right.
let me change it a little bit this way.
He's actually got opinions.
He's got
and
opinions,
he's well
he's got
informed.
perspective. And he can come up with material on his own.
Yeah.
A lot of guys who end up taking stuff, they struggle. They're very good performers, but they struggle with coming up with material on their own.
Well, it's because the very mindset that allows you to be creative is the opposite of the mindset that would make you plagiarize.
That's right. Yeah, and some guys are really good at marketing, and that's a big thing now.
Yeah.
I've known a lot of people in advertising, mostly advertisers. They look at creative people, get the ideas, and then make a commercial about it. And a lot of it's borrowed from, actual artists. So it's the same kind of mindset.
Yeah.
And it works. And then when you take an idea, it's easier because you can see it works. So you're
Right.
like,
You already
that
have
works.
confidence in
You
it.
already have confidence
Yeah.
in it when going in.
Well, that's why the comics that get busted, their specials after that are always terrible.
Right, because
Their material falls off a cliff.
They got to come up with their own stuff.
And they're fucked.
Yeah.
They're fucked.
So I always think, like, if you make it and you're a fraud, you don't really make it because it's not you.
Right.
And that must not feel great.
It sucks. They live in hell. Yannis Pappas, you're the fucking man. I love you to death.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell everybody where they can find you, social media, all that jazz.
Yeah, please follow me, Yannis Pappas, wherever you do. Also, come see me on the road, please. Do you mind if I plug a date or two?
Plug some motherfucking dates.
Yes, please.
YannisPappas.com.
Oh, I put it on airplane mode out of respect for you.
Here we go. Miami Improv, January 19th to 2021. Cobb's Comedy in San Francisco. Good luck, fucker. February 9th and 10th. Have you been there lately?
I haven't, but I'm going to get I'm having the plane land in the club and then sleeping in the club.
There's a shitload of stuff. Atlanta,
San
San
Diego.
Diego, Stanford, Connecticut, Vic Theater in Chicago, Denver Improv.
Toronto. I'm going to shoot my special. I'm shooting my special at the Royal Theater in Toronto, March 23rd, 24th.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, Cleveland, and then the rest. That's good.
Beautiful.
But San Francisco, come see me.
Yeah, please. Rational people.
And my podcast, The Yannis Pappas Hour.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate All right. Bye, everybody.